This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so the instance whatever we have taken is the smallest configuration mission, nothing but T2 micro. So T2 micro is nothing but it is going to have only 1 GB of RAM. So with the 1 GB of RAM, when you want to perform any activities, right? So like our mobiles, right? So if my mobile RAM is occupied with all the applications, I cannot install any new applications. I cannot run any high-end gamings or something like the huge applications which are going to consume more amount of RAM memory. Those applications you cannot run until unless you free up the RAM. The same thing is also happening to our servers also. Right. So here the Jenkins is running on top of Java. Right. The Jenkins is built on top of Java means it is going to use the Java. It is going to use the Java runtime on the background. And the same time we are trying to run the Java application also. Like the RAM, whatever he is facing the problem. So now the game of life application is a somewhat huge amount of code. So it requires some amount of good amount of memory. So then only the application can be executed successfully. Means you can build the application. Right. So now when the application is going to run means when the application is going to start for building, by that time the machine should have the enough memory. Otherwise, it will throw the heap size is not sufficient or runtime memory is not sufficient. Sometimes memory issues you are going to see because your system is very low configured one. Right. So now here the question is like now you executed the T2 micro for your case it is executed successfully, but not for my case. Means here the server thing. Right. At the time of I'm going to execute the application, by the time of my server is not running any other applications or other services. So by that time, whatever the memory is required to build the code for the particular application, if it is available, then it's going to utilize that memory. Otherwise, it is going to fail it. Simple reason. Right. So now here the thing is how much memory is left on the machine by that time when you are trying to execute the application. Right. So the enough memory is available, then it's going to go for success. If the enough memory is not available, we are going to see the issue, memory issue. So there the thing is you need to upgrade the server. Right. So with the low memory, if you are trying to run the applications means obviously you are going to see this use case. Means you are going to see the memory issues. Again, for me also, at some point of time, if I am trying to run the applications, at some point of time, I'm going to face the same issue because I'm trying to run many jobs, so obviously it's going to consume more memory. So at some point of time, it will throw me the same error. So by that time, I will see the other cases, or I will increase my system configuration because because the sufficient memory is not available with the one CPU with the one GB of RAM. Right? So that is one thing. So now the next case will be suppose my machine is having good amount of RAM, but still my application is failing with the out of memory. This is the second case. One is you are not having the sufficient memory on your machine. The second case is yes, you are having the sufficient memory like 8 GB of RAM, 4 GB of RAM. Your machine is having, even though you are going to see the same out of memory issue. Means here the case will be now here the application requires suppose 200 MB RAM as an example I'm telling you guys. So now 200 MB RAM is required, but by default it is allocating only 150 as a default case. Now obviously it's going to fail because it is looking for the 200 MB RAM, but you are allocating the default one is 150. So there we need to increase the memory size so that the application can take the enough memory and it can go for the execution. So that is the second case. Right. So if you have the sufficient memory animation, but still the application is failing with the memory issue means yes, the default configurations or whatever the configuration you have done on the memory side for the application, it is not sufficient, increase it. So where I can increase this stuff on our Jenkins memory size increase. Right. So now here the memory means Java runtime memory. Right. So that one is here nothing but go to Jenkins mission EC2 uh, connect to the Jenkins server. That if you guys remember or not, the main configuration file of the Jenkins, right? The location of the main configuration file is etc sysconfig, correct? Where you are going to change the port numbers. In the sysconfig directory, we are going to find the main configuration file of the Jenkins. Open the file. Right now we have seen this file already, right? So here we have changed the port number also. So now here you can say Java Jenkins Java options. So this is the property where we need to add the memory size so that it can take the memory whatever you are passing there. Right, so let me show you how we can pass it. Java args. So this Java args variable is not available. Then yeah, actually this is the declaration of the variable. XMX max, SMN minimum. So here you can go for the max and you can set up the size 512. Then from the 512, if you want to go for if the memory is required more, then this is the argument like to max limit 1048. Yes. So here this is the one actually. That Java Jenkins option. Here in the file, just now I showed it to the same right. So this is the option Java Jenkins Java option. Here these are the two arguments. So nothing but like this, like this. So this is how we are going to set up to allocate memory to your application. Nothing but to application means the Jenkins one, not your job. So that the Jenkins will have some amount of memory. It's going to use some good amount of memory. So after this option, you need to add two parameters. Right. So this is one when you are going to face issues with the memory. This is the one how we are going to set up. Right, guys. So now here, in our case, even though you increase that memory to 1 GB, 2 GB, it is not going to run because our configuration is 1 GB RAM, 1 GB only. This guy. So even though if I'm trying to give 2 GB of RAM, it will not possible, right? So because it is only RAM only 1 GB, so 1 GB only you need to allocate max. 1 GB only you can allocate here. So now here my mission free, right? Free is the command to see how much RAM available, how much used, and how much RAM is free. See now right now 89, just hardly 89 MB is free. Rest of the thing is allocated, right? So means going forward, my job also will be fail if I am trying to use any huge amount of job like that, right? So because the system configuration is like that, so then what I can do here is simply I need to change the system configuration from T2 to T2 medium or T2 large, something like that, so that I will get some good amount of memory, right? So this option is only when, so whatever the option we have seen here, this option is only when if your system is having good amount of RAM, still the jobs are failing with the out of memory, then this is going to work. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay, right? Yes. So this is how. That's why I have changed the machine of RAM, your machine to T2 large or something, so that it went fine actually. So, so this is one thing, guys. Let's move to our class. Right. So we have seen we have seen how to create the CI/CD process with the help of freestyle job. Correct? Freestyle job is nothing but with the help of the plugins, with the help of the GUI. Plugins are common if it is a freestyle or pipeline with the help of GUI, graphical user interface. Right? So that one we have covered. So we have created two jobs like CA job and some QA job, something like that. Right? These two jobs where we have seen from taking the code from the GitHub to run the unit test cases, code quality checks, then creation of artifacts, and pushing the artifacts into our artifact repository. From that, deploy the artifacts into Tomcat server, then finally send an email notification. Right? At the end, also we are trying to publish the reports on the Jenkins dashboard. All the steps we are seeing with the help of graphical user interface, nothing but we are going to call as a freestyle jobs. Right? So now the real-time practice. Right now, the real-time practice is here is we need to convert this freestyle into pipelines. Pipelines are nothing but with the help of code. Right. So now we are going to write a code. With the help of the code, we are going to build the job. The same setup, the same process, no difference. Process is same, but the configuration, the job setup is different. That's it. Right. So now here, when I say code, means you need to write some code. So now what kind of code we are going to write? How to write the code, right? So if I want to write a C program, then I need to understand the syntax first. If I don't know the syntax, how can I write the code? Right? So it's going to throw me some errors like this is not the correct one, that is not the correct one, like that. Right? So now here the syntax has to be followed when you are trying to write a code. Right? Then the code will be nothing but the code blocks you are going to write. With the help of the syntax, the code is nothing but you are going to write the blocks. Those you are going to call the functions, loops, if conditions, like that. Right? So now we'll see how to convert our freestyle job to pipeline. So now in the pipeline, how the syntax will be like we are going to write the syntaxes, and in the syntaxes how we are going to utilize our code blocks. Right. So now here before going to see the conversion, just I will give some kind of overview on the pipeline side, the process, the pipeline. So earlier days, the pipelines we are going to call as a groovy pipelines. So now the pipelines are built with the language called groovy. So now with the help of the groovy language, these pipelines are going to build. So now here we are going to use the groovy to create a code. I mean to say to create a pipeline with the help of this groovy language. So now groovy is a language like other language like C, C++, Java, Python, .NET, like that. Groovy is also a language. So now you can write anything with the groovy. You can define the classes, you can create the objects, anything. So now the same groovy is used for to write the pipelines of Jenkins. Right? That is the earlier process. Right. So now here, if you don't know the groovy, you cannot write that. So now later on, they came up with some other solution. The same pipeline can be implemented without using the groovy extensively, but still you can write the pipelines. That's what we are going to call as a declarative pipelines. So now declarative pipelines will be having two types of pipelines. One is the groovy pipelines, and the second one is the declarative pipelines. Right. So what is the difference between the groovy one and the declarative one? Right. So when we are going to talk about the declarative pipelines, there will be having the functionalities readily available. Right. So you don't require to write any kind of logics, or you don't require to build any kind of functions to to meet your requirements. So ready-made functions are available, ready-made code is available. Just take the function and use in your process wherever you want to implement it. So that's what the declarative one. When it comes to Groovy, yes, you need to write from the scratch. It's a programming language. So whatever the scenario is there, based on the scenario, you need to write the code. But here, yes, you will be having the ready-made functions are available, ready-made code is available. Just take it and use it. That's what the declarative. Right. So now here, when declarative pipelines came into the picture, now people like you and me, right? So we are not experts in the Groovy side. So what we are doing here is we are adapting, we are taking the declarative pipelines. Right. So both will be same. One is ready-made, the second one is you have to write your own. right? So now here the advantage with the declarative pipeline here is, right? So when it comes to the declarative, you are not going to get all the 100% of functionalities, right? Your requirement will be somewhat typical. There you are not going to see the ready-made functions, the ready-made code for the declarative pipeline. Then obviously you need to go for the writing of the code. You have to implement your own, because the custom functionality which is not available in the declarative. Right, so now there again I need to go for the Groovy, but my pipeline, entire pipeline is declarative one. Right, so now here the whatever the section, the part is not available in the declarative. That's where I need to go for the writing of the code. So now the declarative pipelines will give the support, means you can integrate the Groovy also in the declarative pipeline. So that is one of the biggest advantage. Right, wherever you need to write some custom functionality, some custom code, yes, you can write the custom functionalities, the custom code with the help of Groovy. Then you can integrate in the pipeline, your pipeline multiple, your declarative pipeline. So that is one of the advantages. So that you don't require to learn entire stuff of the Groovy. Just you are going to take the declarative pipelines. So when the requirement is something like that, so the typical requirement there, we are going to use the Groovy, just the functionality. We will take it and we will put into our code. That is one of the biggest advantages of the declarative. Right. So now we'll see the declarative pipelines and the declarative pipeline syntaxes, then how we can convert our code into the pipeline. Right. So later on, I will show you the Groovy stuff somewhat, so that you will see like how the Groovy will be there. Okay. But anyway, as I told you, right, so we don't require to learn the Groovy stuff, because even I don't have to Groovy. But yes, I am using the Groovy. Yes, I am using the Groovy. So it means once you have the good commanding on the declarative pipeline, so with the help of the declarative pipeline, maximum 80% of the process can be implemented. The rest of the 20%, very rarely we are going to use. There we are going to go for the Google. I need some logic. I will Google it. I will get the code, my Groovy code. So now I will take the Groovy code. I will modify it according to my requirement. Then I will put into my pipeline. That's what we are going to do, right? We don't require to learn from the scratch. Right? So because always we are not going to work on the Jenkins. Simple funda. That's what, you don't need to be expertise in any one of the tool of the DevOps, because we are not going to consistently working on the same tool. There is no guarantee. Hardly will be work for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, then you will be moved to some other tool. But the thing is, yes, when the requirement comes, you have to take the thing and you need to apply it. That's what we require actually as a DevOps guy. You never say like I don't know. I am not familiar with the tool. Right. So now let's move to our declarative pipeline. Then we'll see, like we'll take the some sample code, we'll try to execute it, then we'll slowly we'll convert our code into the declarative pipeline, nothing but of Jenkins pipeline. Right. So now here, as a like, so we don't know how the declarative pipelines or how the Groovy pipelines the code is written. So for that, the Jenkins is providing a sample code to us, so that by seeing the sample code, you will come to know, okay, how the code will looks like, for better understanding. Right. So now I will go to the my Jenkins dashboard. So now here the job type, when you are going to write the pipeline code, now the job type we are going to change from the freestyle to pipeline. Right. So here I'm going to click on new item. Then here I'm going to give some example, pipeline tester, whatever the job name. Right. So now here I am not going to select the freestyle because it's a GUI mode. So now I will go for the pipeline. So select the pipeline, give the name, and click on OK. So now I have chosen the job type as pipelines, right? So now here I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change anything here from the general section. Build triggers, nothing I'm going to change here. I will go for the pipeline. So now here you can see only 4 sections. In the freestyle, we are going to see 6 to 7 sections, right? So now here only 4 sections we are going to see. So I'm going to leave the first 3, then I will going to click on the pipeline. Right. So now here the pipeline will give us 2 options. The pipeline the pipeline job type will be give us the 2 options. One is straight away you can write the code here, your pipeline code, then execute the job. This is one way. A console will be given to us. In the console, you can write the code, whatever the code you want to write as part of the pipeline, then build the job. The second one is write the code, place in a file, then call the file. That's for the second one, right? So what is the advantage here is, right? So if I write the code here, my pipeline code, something like that, then I saved it and I executed my job. I have means execute means I have tested it. It is working fine. Now some point of time or some other day, the other person, like who is having the Jenkins access, there is a chance of he can go to my job and here the code will be there. He can add some like he can do some kind of changes. Yes, because the code is on the console, right? Who is having the access on the Jenkins, they can modify my job. And again, the troubleshooting part is the time taken process for me. Right. So now the security, right? The job security, the code security here. Right. So that is where we are not going to use the consoles in our real time. We are going to place the code in a file, and the file we are going to use so that the only the authorized persons can have the read and write permissions of the file. Then so that the only those people can modify the file. Otherwise, no one can touch the file. Right. So now let's see here. So first we'll go with the console mode, then we'll go with the file mode. So now here I'm going to remove the entire code. Now here in the right side you can see there is an option called try sample pipeline. Right. So I'm going to expand it. So now here you can see here the option called hello world, GitHub plus Maven and scripted pipeline. Right. So declarative pipeline or the Groovy pipeline or the scripted pipeline. Groovy and scripted are both the same and declarative is the other way, predefined code. So now here I'm going to click on the hello world. Right, so now when the moment I click on the hello world, so here's some code, right? So this is the pipeline syntax, pipeline code. So now let's try to see the syntax of the pipeline. So your pipeline always should start with the keyword called pipeline. Then from here, it is going to start the block and it is the ending of the pipeline block. Okay, right. So here in between, I need to write the code, whatever the code block I want to write. I need to write the code block in between the curly braces of the pipeline. Right. So usually our pipeline syntax will be once the pipeline code block is defined, then you are going to write a section of agent. Right. A section of agent will see the agent section later, but just I will give the overview here. So agent is nothing but where you want to run this job. Right. Means on which server you want to run this job. On which server you want to run the job. So that's what the agent here. So right now we have only one server, that is nothing but my Jenkins. I don't have any other servers to run my job. So right, so now here you can leave as it is, agent. So it means the agent is nothing but the property of agent is nothing but you are going to tell on which mission you want to run this particular job. Right now I have only one server for my Jenkins, means on the same mission I want to run the job. So that's why you can leave the property as it is. So then the main code, nothing but we are going to call it the stages. We are going to call it the stages. So now the stages are nothing but here our tasks, right? So now if I take the freestyle job, my tasks are nothing but the first task will be running the unit test cases. The second task will be checking the code quality. Third task will be right check the code quality gate. Fourth task will be create the artifact. Fifth task will be push the artifact. Seventh task will be deploy the artifact. Likewise, I can define the tasks, right? So here those tasks we are going to call as stages. Right. So now here we are going to define a stages block. Inside the stages block, now we are going to define a stage. Now the stage is nothing but your task. Right. So we will be having a main block called pipeline block. Inside the pipeline block, we are going to have one more block called stages block. Inside the stages block, we are going to define the individual stages for each step. Here the step we can call it step, we can call it a task, we can call it stage, whatever it may be, right? Whatever the action, whatever the activity you want to perform, that will become as a stage inside the stages block. So now here my first stage will be nothing but run the unit test cases. Now my second stage is nothing but check the code quality. Third stage is nothing but check the quality gate. Fourth stage, build the artifact. Fifth stage, push the artifact. Seventh stage, deploy the artifact. So now all the activities, all the tasks are going to convert as a stage here. Now all the stages we are going to place in between the block called stages. Now the stages block will be inside the pipeline block. That's what the syntax. Simple syntax here. Right. So now here my pipeline block will be having a stages block. So now my stages block will be having the stages. Stages means here stage by stage. This is the stage block. One activity, one task. Now we are going to define one more stage block for the second activity, one more stage block for the third activity. Like that, the stage are going to define here. Right now, this pipeline code is nothing but trying to display a sample message, a printf statement. Right, echo is the printf statement. Right. So now here, this is the name we are going to give when I want to see the output on the console. Right. So now here again the thing is already I have the already I have the GUI stuff, graphical user interface stuff is there, right? Freestyle jobs are there. Why should I go for the pipelines? The first thing will be right. So already I can define everything with the my GUI, right? Why should I go for the pipeline? So now this is the common question for us, right? So why should I go for the pipeline instead of the freestyle? The first one will be execution time. Right. So when I say graphical user interface means when I'm trying to run the job in the background, the graphical user interface will call the command line CLIs. Now the CLIs are going to execute and finally you are going to get the output. So now from the graphical user interface to CLI, the CLI are going to execute. Now when I say the pipeline directly no graphical user interface, directly the CLIs are going to execute, the command lines are going to execute, then we are going to get that. Means one layer is got terminated, one layer is eliminated. The layer is nothing but the graphical user interface GA. So obviously the pipeline job will be the faster than our GUI job, our freestyle job. So now the first point what we will tell here is pipelines are faster than the GUI job. GUI means the freestyle job. That is one of the advantage. The second advantage here is when the moment I let me save it. So now this is my some GUI job or something. So when the moment I executed my job here, I will go to the job. I click on the bill now. So now I want to see how the job is going on. I want to see the progress. I want to see the process. Right. For that, what we are going to do here is we'll go to the console output and we'll see the logs. Correct. So now the logs are nothing but your job process. Right. So see huge amount of log is generated. Right. So now here I want to see suppose if the total time to complete this job is 2 minutes. As an example, so the total time of completion of this job is 2 minutes. Now I want to know which step is executing more time, which step is taken more time out of all the steps, right? Suppose here there are 7 steps are there, right? And out of the 7 steps, which step is taking more time? Or I want to see the step by step time execution, like what is the execution time for the step one, what is the execution time for the step two, right? Likewise I want to see how much time these steps are taking so that I can improve, like I can improve the particular area. Suppose my fourth step is taking 4 minutes of time. Right. So because the logic is written something like that. The logic is written something like that. So that is due to the logic is taking 4 minutes of time. Right. So now here I can improve, I can think about that particular logic so that I can minimize that time for 4 minutes or 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Right. So now how can I get this execution details for the stepwise in the GA? It's very difficult. Not possible. It is possible, but very difficult. Right. So how you can get it here is we are going to add the date and time, right? Time console, right? So here I will go to the job configuration. Here in the build environment, you can see add timestamp, right? So when I add the timestamp, then when the moment I execute the job, timestamp will be appended to the each and every line. So now I will go to the console output. Then I will try to see my GitHub step, right? So from here, the GitHub step is started. So now here I'll see the time. What are the time will be displayed here? Then I will go here again, right? So here the Git step is closed. Now I will see the time exact. Okay, this step is taken this much of time. Then from here, suppose unit test case are running. So now I'll see the time here. Then I will go until the unit test case are completed. Then okay, this is the time. Like that, you need to check manually by seeing the logs. Then only come to know, okay, this is the time for this particular step. This is the time taken for this particular step, like that. Now in the pipeline job, it will divide your complete job into pieces. Your complete job right now, it is a single page, a single log, right? So now in the pipeline, what the pipeline job will do, it is going to divide our job into pieces. On what basis? On what basis the jobs are going to divide into pieces, right? So now here, if I go to my pipeline test, go to the configuration, based on the stages. So now here your pipeline is going to divide into pieces based on the stage. Now each stage will be a separate piece. Hello. Now the stage name is nothing but here. Suppose there are 5 stages are there. Now you are going to say 5 pieces. 5 pieces. So now each piece, how we are going to identify with the name of the stage, like this. So now the first piece will be given as the name as hello. Now the block will be displayed the time taken. How much time has been taken to execute this complete stage. Likewise, you can verify the details very easily with the help of the pipeline, because the pipeline is going to divide your complete Jenkins job into pieces. Now also, not only checking the time, you can check the stage by stage logs. I want to see the logs. Suppose there are 15 steps are there in my job. There are 15 steps are there. So now here somewhere the job got failed. Let me take this example here. Here we have the CA job. If I go to my CA job, it got failed. So now here, how I will know this particular step got failed, because the job is combination of different tasks, different steps. So now which step got failed, I want to know. So how we are going to know? We'll go down something like that, and then we'll see if any errors there or something like that. Then we'll try to see what is the exact here, like that. But in the pipeline, it will be divided into pieces. Now it will show you the particular piece in a red color. Nothing but that piece has some issue. Straight away I can go to the piece, nothing but the block, and I can check it. You don't require to scroll up your log to see where exactly they are raised. That is one of the advantages of the pipeline. The third biggest pipeline advantage here is, right. So now this is a job, CA job for my dev environment. Right. So now here I need a job for my QA environment. Right. When the code move to release branch, again you need to run the same steps. Right. Then finally you need to deploy the code into the QA environment. Right. So my job is freestyle job. Then what I need to create a separate one more job with the same configuration. Just change the properties, whatever is required for the QA. Right. So now here the task is repeating. Right. The same amount of time we are going to spend. Right. Right. So to create the job for the QA environment. Now here in the pipelines, you don't require to create any separate job. Only the thing is which required here is you need to create the files, the Jenkins files. One first time I'm going to create a pipeline job for my dev environment, then I will copy and paste it, the same file. I will replicate it, the same file. Then I will change the properties like one or two, whatever is required for the player. Then I am going to give these files to my Jenkins. Now based on the files, automatically the jobs are going to create. You don't need to come here and create the jobs. Automatically the jobs are going to create by your Jenkins. Just our job is to provide the input. The input is nothing but the files. The files are nothing but the Jenkins files. The Jenkins file is nothing but a pipeline code. That's it. Automatically, the jobs are going to create. We don't require to go to Jenkins and create. That is one of the biggest advantages of the pipeline. Our job is to create the code, create the pipelines, and give the pipelines to the Jenkins as input. Your pipeline, the Jenkins will be taken care of creation of the job by taking the pipeline. We'll see. That is the last area for us. We'll see. So now these are the advantages we need to tell when the people are going to ask what is the difference between the pipelines and the GA network or the freestyle jobs. Why should I go for the freestyle jobs than the pipelines? One is the time faster. The second one is right. So you don't need to maintain separate jobs for the each environment. Automatically your Jenkins will be create the jobs. Our job is to provide the inputs, the Jenkins files. Then the third one is checking the logs are very easily when comes to the pipeline than the GA mode. Each job will be divided into the steps wise. Now you can directly go to the particular step where the step got failed and you can verify the logs. Checking the logs are very easy. Right. So now let's go to our job again, our pipeline job, and see how the job is going to execute and what kind of output it will be given to us. So now I'll go to the Jenkins dashboard. Then this is my pipeline test job. As of now, it is not executed yet. Right. So I'm going to click on the pipeline test. Right. So now here I'm going to click on the build now. No GitHub integration, nothing. Simply here it is. We are trying to display a message. That's it. This job purpose is successfully executed. Now see here, as I said, your pipeline job will be divided into pieces. On what basis? On the stages. How many stages are there in the pipeline? Those many stages are become as a blocks here, separate blocks. Now how we are going to identify that this stage belongs to so and so? The name. The name. Right. So here, that's what here you can see 354 milliseconds. How much time has been taken here is 354 milliseconds, not even second also. Now here when the moment I place the cursor here, I can see logs button. Now if I click on the logs, it is going to show me only the particular stage logs. Like this is the advantage of the pipelines, right? So now when I move something suppose failed, simply I can go to this particular log so that I will come to know okay, this is what the issue here instead of going from the top to bottom of the console output, right? So now here let me go back to the configuration. Click on the configuration, then go to the pipeline section. I'm going to remove the code. So right, so here the button is gone because already the code is placed. So now remove the code so that you are going to see the button again. Save it. That will should show me. Let me go to the configuration again. Just still it in the second line. Go to the first line. Right. So now here you can see the option here. So now here I'm going to take the second one. GitHub plus Maven integration. Right now this hello world is nothing but simply just a printf statement. Right. So now here I want to take the pipeline code. So for that they have given some kind of example called GitHub plus Maven. Select it. So now here the stages are increased. This is my pipeline block. Agent is nothing but on which server we want to run. As of now, no separate agent, so I'm going to leave it. Then here we are going to see before the stages the common properties for your pipeline code for your job. We are going to define here before the stages block. That the common properties are something like suppose I want to create the user parameters, input variables. Those are going to define here. Or I want to create a variables. I want to define a variables. We can define here. Or I want to set up the log rotation. Right, log rotation is nothing but how many jobs you want to maintain, the retention periods, the common property. That one I can set up here. Right. So now here the stages are nothing but the exact task. So now whatever the properties or what are the options are required for the stages, those can be defined before the stage block. So now here the tools is the one which is nothing but your global tool configuration. Tools are nothing but here the global tool configuration. Correct. So now here when I want to run my job, right? So when I want to compile my job with the help of the Maven, then in the job we need to tell what version you are going to take from the Maven side. Right. So that's what here. So now here if I go to my dashboard again, then suppose if I go to my job, suppose any job, GOL job, then click on configuration. Right. So in the configuration section, I am going to tell my job is a Java code. My code is a Java code. So due to the Java code, I am going to take the Maven tool, Maven build tool. Then in the Maven build tool, I'm going to tell this is the Maven I want to take. So where the Maven is defined in the global tool configuration. Correct. So likewise now here, so now whatever the Maven version you are providing here, the Maven version you are providing here, that's what the tool section of our pipeline. In the tool section, you are going to tell this is the version I'm going to use Maven. Okay. So now here I'm going to take I will go to my job again. My job is nothing but the pipeline one. So I will go to the pipeline one again. Then click on the configuration. Then go to the pipeline stuff here. So let me open this one. So here, as an example, they have given the Maven name as M3. But in our case, not the M3, I have given the name as Maven, right? So in the global tool configuration, I have given the name as Maven, right? So that is the reason here the M3 I'm going to change it as Maven, the tool name, global tool name, right? So right. So this is what here the tool section. Then we are going to see one stage. In the stages block, we are going to see only one stage. Right. So run your use cases, run your requirements. Nothing but so my code is Java code. I want to create an artifact. So now my requirement is here is take the Java code, then run the build, your build pages, the Maven build pages, so that it's going to create an artifact for me, like clean package. Right. So that's what I need to do. So now here the first taking the code, the second one is building the code. Right. So now in the stage build, here I'm going to tell git, and this is my path where my code is exist. They have given some sample code here. So now this is the sample code they have provided, so that whenever I'm going to run the job, the code will be picked from the repository. Here the what is the repository here? Git. Then once the code is ready, the next step will be building the code, nothing but creation of artifacts. Right. So that's what here sh. Sh is nothing but shell. Why I'm going to do the sh? Because my Linux server, like sorry, my Jenkins is running on the Linux mission, Linux OS. So Linux will support the bash. Bash is nothing but your sh shell. Right. So now here I'm going to use the sh. Then right Maven, we are going to use clean packages or clean install or clean test line. Right. So now here Maven is the one command you need to use so that it will understand. Okay, I am going to trigger the Maven. Then this is my build lifecycle. Clean package. Clean package, clean deploy, clean install, clean test, clean validate, clean compile, like that. Right. So now here there is one more property. This is nothing but from the job side, right? Our test cases for our gates are nothing but we need to check the unit test cases are passed or not. If only the unit test cases are passed, then only go for the next step. Otherwise, don't go for the next step. Simply fail the job, send a communication to everyone. Everyone means the team, the development team. That's what usually the process is. So now here the thing is the developer will be having a high priority, nothing but they cannot fix the unit test cases right now, but they want to have the application has to be tested. The code has to be tested. Yes, we are going to see this kind of requirements. So now because the priority is nothing but the code has to be passed successfully, not the unit test cases. But right, so now they will ask you to, even though unit test cases are failed, leave it as it is, go for the creation of artifact. We'll see the unit test case later. But as part of the process, always the unit test case has to pass, then only you need to go for the build. But here's some requirements, right? The critical thing, right? So by the time they will not focus on other parts, simply they want to have the artifacts. So by that time, what we are going to do here is we are going to tell our Jenkins, even though the test case are passed, sorry, failed, then go further. Don't stop it, even though the test case are failed. So that's what the option here is. Test failures, ignore true. So when the property I'm going to set as a true, automatically it's going to ignore the test failure from the Maven side. This is the Maven property, right? So this is what the property here. So now here you can see there are some commented lines, nothing but if the Jenkins is running on the Linux, this is the command we are going to use. If the Jenkins is running on the Windows, then batch BAT, the same options. SS will be changed as batch command because that is a Windows mission. Right. So now by default it is commented out because by most of the time, most of the cases, the jobs are going to run on the Linux. Our Jenkins will be running on the Linux 90% of the cases. That is the reason they have commented this section. Right. If your Jenkins server is a Windows one, yes, just simply comment this one and open this one. So this is what the code here is, the block called build block. So nothing but get the code from the GitHub repository and run the Maven build pages. Right. So now in our previous example, I have shown you the pipeline syntax here is you will be having a main parent block called pipeline block. Inside the pipeline block, you are going to have one more block called stages block. Inside the stage block, you are going to have all the stages, nothing but your task. Right. So now the complete syntax here is the complete syntax here is at the end we are going to have a section called post. This post section is nothing but post build actions. This post section is nothing but post build actions. Once the job is completed, what you want to perform. Once my job is completed, my task will be sending an email notification to everyone. Right. So that's what here we are going to have in the post two sections. One is success and the second one is failure. In the post section, in the post blog, we are going to have two sections. One is success and second one is failure. If the job is successfully completed, then what you want to do? If the job is failed, in the failure section, we are going to write what you want to do. Right. So this is the syntax of the pipeline now. So now the pipeline will be having, this is the complete syntax. Pipeline will be having the pipeline block code, pipeline block. Inside the pipeline block, you are going to have the stages block. Inside the stages block, you are going to have stages, stage by stage, stage one, stage. So now inside the stage, you are going to have the steps block. Inside the stage, we are going to have the step blocks. At the end, we are going to have the post block. The post block will be having two sections. One is success and second one is failure. Right. So now here I'm going to take this code and I'm going to run it. So let me go here, paste it. Only the part I need to change here is M3 to Maven because my Maven name given as a Maven. Apply and save. Run. See, tool installations, nothing but the Maven setup. And the second one is build. The stage name is build. The build is going to execute some, right. So here you can see yellow color means unstable, right. So it is not a failure, but somewhere something is wrong with the job. That is the reason it is not successfully completed. Let's see here. Let's go to the console output if I can see anything here, right. So now here you can see the console output like other the freestyle jobs, or straight away wherever the issue is there, go to the blog and click on the logs. Right. So now here, see here, the git has taken 874 milliseconds. Shell script, the clean package has taken 9 seconds. and the unit test case results archiving this 305 milliseconds archive the artifact like you can see step by step time taken what is the time taken for the each step. So now here I will archiving the artifacts regarding the test results. Here also I can see my build is successful. So this is the what. See, and if I don't use the property, my job is going to fail. Configuration. I'm going to remove this property. Apply. Save. Now I don't think the test case are failed. It is saying successful means see here something is changed here. No failures. Earlier we have the failure. That is the reason it is unstable. Now somewhat is fixed. Okay, what kind of code we don't know, but somewhere now we don't see any failure. That is the reason the job got successfully executed. So if I go to the earlier case, failures now. Right, fine. Okay, what is maybe right? So here, usually you are going to say unstable means there is some issue, but your job is not going to fail. That's what unstable. Okay, right. So here the property, right? So now when the test case are failed, I don't want to fail my job. For that reason, the property is given this one. Right. So now here, let me go back to the pipeline code again. Now here, I can see a stage block called build. Build. In the build block, you can see one is take the code, the second one is run the Maven build lifecycle. Correct? Okay, now we understand very clearly, like, yes, that's what the procedure is. Right? So first step will be take the code, the second step should be run the unit test cases, take the code quality, create the artifact, right? We know the process right now. Now the problem here is if I want to take the code, how I will know I need to give this git only, or how I will know I need to git sh only to execute that. Right? So that's what the problem here is. If you know the Groovy better, then you can set up this one very easily, right? You will understand, you will know, you will come to know, okay, this is what I need to give so that it can be executed. But here we are completely new to the Groovy. Right? So when we are completely new to Groovy means we don't know what kind of sections we need to use for my requirement. Here my requirement is taking the code. Here my requirement is creation of artifacts. So that what kind of sections I need to use. So for that also they have given a option for us. For that also they have given an option for us so that you don't require to remember anything. What to be given, what not to be given. Simply you can go and use the options. Right. So that's why the pipelines have become very easy for us. Pipeline means writing the code. Right? You don't just you need to go to the option, utilize the option and create the code, pipeline code and use it. Okay. So now I'm going to show you that option to us. So that with the help of the options, now we are trying to convert the code, our GI code into the pipelines. Okay. That's so where can I find the option here? So now here I'll go to the job. This is my dashboard, Jenkins dashboard. Now here I will go to my pipeline test job. Now here in the job, I can see here there is an option called pipeline syntax. This option only when you are going to see here is when the job type is a pipeline job type. If the job type is a freestyle job, we are not going to see this option. So let me go to the dashboard again. Let me open any freestyle job. Right, so the pipeline syntax option will be available only to the pipeline jobs only, not for the GUI jobs. Okay, don't confuse it. So now I'll go to the dashboard. Then I will go to my pipeline job here, pipeline test. Then I'm going to open the pipeline syntax in some other browser. Open the link in new tab. Okay. So now click on the pipeline. Now this is the complete documentation is a documentation for the pipelines. Declarative directory generator, declarative online documentation, step reference, global variable, like complete documentation. So if I click on the declarative online documentation, the material, how to use these declarative pipelines, the material is pipeline syntax. Here you can find all the syntaxes, all the steps with the example. Right. So now here, sending the inputs to your job, right? Sending an input to your job. In the freestyle, what we have used here is in the freestyle, build with parameters. Correct. So now in the freestyle, we have used the job build with parameters. So I will go to the configuration. In the configuration, I went to the parameters option. This project is parameter. There I have created the variables so that the user can send an input to the job. Build with parameters. Click on here. This is the one. Now the same thing I want to achieve. The same thing I want to achieve the pipelines. How can I do that? Right. So let me go to the pipeline. So now here in the pipeline, we are going to have the option called parameters. Parameters is the option where with the help of the parameters we can send inputs to our job. See, they have given the examples also, so I don't bother about how to write the code. Simply I have taken the example here. Let's see, here you can see now we know, right? Pipeline is the main parent block, then agent where you want to run, then we are going to have the stages block. Inside the stages we are going to have the stages. Inside the stage you are going to have the steps. Right. So now here likewise you can write multiple stages, and before the stages you are going to place the common properties, the common thing for the job. So now here my first thing will be parameters, nothing but sending an input to the job. So now, right, so when you want to send an input to the job, so now the section will be the parameters. Section will be the parameters. Right. So now here you can see the input parameters. Types are string, text, boolean, choice, password, like that. Right. So now here the parameter nothing but the data type. You can choose. You can treat this as a data type. My variable data type string. Now what is the name of the string? Nothing but the variable person. If you pass any variable name, it will take. Otherwise, you will take the default value. Default value. My default message. This is for us description. What exactly this variable is. Like that, you can see here the variable data types and the variable names and the default values. Default values. And this is the description. Right. So now here, usually any programming language, if the user is passing a input a script or input to the program, the data we are going to capture by using the variables. Correct. So now you suppose as an example, enter your name. This is what will be displayed on the console. So now I am going to enter a name called Shankar. So now here, when I enter the Shankar, then I am going to get the greeting message. Hello, Shankar, how are you? Right. So now here I am going to ask the user, enter your name. So when the moment user is entered the name, then I'm going to display a message. So how we are going to handle here is, this is the data being entered by the user as input to whom? To your program. So now by program, my program will be having an input called name. Right. So now here when the name enter Shankar, now in the inside the program I'm going to create a variable, suppose something like that, employee name, EMP name. This is my variable. So now this variable will be holding the value called Shankar. So now here hello. Now I'm going to display the value employee name. How are you doing? Right. So now when the user Shankar is trying to execute the program, then he will be display like enter your name. I am going to display Shankar. So now the output will be hello, employee name is Shankar. So next time the program is executed by Teja. So now what the Teja will do? She is going to enter the Teja here. So now here the employee name will be become as a Teja. So now here how are you Teja, something like that. So right. So likewise, the variables are going to use to hold the user inputs. To hold the user inputs or the external inputs. The input can be passed by the user, or the input can be passed by the some device or a file, whatever it may be. But in the background, we are going to use the variables. Like we'll see in the shell in our shell scripting more about these variables. But right now, yes, anywhere the concept will be the same. So here also the same concept. So in our pipeline also the same concept, nothing but whatever the data being passed by the end user, like suppose string person name, or the text, some text biography, or the boolean parameters, like whatever the user is going to send the input, those will be stored in the variables called person, biography, toggle, choice, password. These are the variables. So now these variables I want to display it, something like that. Hello, Teja, how are you doing? Or hello, Shankar, how are you doing? Right now, these are the data being entered by the user. Now, where I'm going to store? I'm going to store in the employee name in the variable. So when I want to display the employee name variable, I'm going to use some syntax or some notations like dollar. This is for the shell. This is for the shell to display a variable value. So now here in our pipeline, so if you want to display any variable value, dollar and curly braces has to be used. In between the curly braces, this is the parameters. Parameters. So now params is the option. Params dot the variable name person. Params dot biography toggle. Variable names has to pass. So that in the pipeline, this is the pipeline syntax. Your pipeline syntax. Whatever the variables we are using, those variables I want to use. If you want to use the variables, then this is the syntax. Dollar curly braces params dot person. Right. So now here, this what the job is going to do here is, whatever the inputs is being entered by the user, the inputs will be displayed. Hello, biography, toggle, like that. Echo statements. Right. So now here I will take this code, copy, then I will go to my job. I will go to the pipeline job. Sample pipeline, configure.
Shankar, it is pipeline test.
Yes, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, pipeline test. So let me go to the pipeline test, configure, and I'm going to change it. Now apply and save. Right, so here we should see build with parameters, right? So here, because my job is having the parameters, right? So first time, sometimes it is not going to show you as build with parameters. So simply we're going to show build now. Click on the build now at least one time, right? So it will take the default stuff. Then later on, it is going to show us build with parameters. Sometimes Jenkins will behave like that. So by that time, we're not going to say build with parameters. So click one time the build, then automatically the build with parameters will come. So now here I'm going to click on the build with parameters. You can see here the input parameters. Default value. If I'm not going to pass anything, Mr. Jenkins will be taken. Or else you can pass some biography, something toggle, choice to password, something A, B, C, D, right? Some data I'm going to enter here. So now build. Now go to the output here, or you can go to the output from here. Anything is fine, right? So console output. Now you can see here, hello Shankar, biography DevOps, toggle to, choice to, password is ABCD, like that. Right? So this is how we can define the variables in the pipeline. Like that, suppose I want to set up the rotations, the history. I want to maintain only 5 jobs, right? So for that also you can set up like that. You need to find for the correct properties or as part of the requirement. So now build retention, something is there, discard. Discard is the option here. Build discard. So build discard is the option. Then inside that we have the function called log rotator. Then number to keep the string. How many jobs you want to maintain? Sorry, not the jobs, the history. So here you can see the other properties of that particular thing. Then here you can see in the options is the section. Inside the options, we are going to use the discarder, build discarder. That is timeout option. This is parameter. So for the build discarder, they are not given an example here. So if you want to use the build discarder, so this is the option. In the option section, we are going to use like that. So take this one, copy inside the options. For example, let's here they are called example. For example, inside the options, I will go to my job pipeline test, configure, pipeline. So this is the parameter section, right? So now here it is an option sections, right? So here I'm going to take the option section. Here, paste it like that. So like that, right? So before the stages, the common properties we are going to apply. So what are the sections they are providing? Just going to use the sections inside that our thing, like that. So like that, you can have maximum options. All the options you are going to available with the examples also. So this is the one of the complete documentation for our pipeline, decorative pipeline stuff, right? So now here, let me go back to the documentation again, means our pipeline syntax part. So let me open this pipeline syntax in a separate tab. Come back. Yes. Right, so here you can see the steps reference. This is a material for us. Right, so here the how we are going to use the steps. Right, so here how to use the steps, the examples, like the use cases they are going to provide. If I want to use 1, 2, 3, go here. You have to define something like that. If I want to use something, anything, and DSL domain specific language. If I want to build a job, then the parameters how to use build a job parameters optional. Build parameters credentials. Give the variables actually. Say git. If I want to take the code from the version control tool from the git, so this is how the syntax will be. Right. So likewise, you can see the options, the steps. Right. So you can see here, I want to display the unit test case results, unit test results. So expand it. So this is how we are going to use repos.xml. This is the path I need to pass, and I need to give JUnit. So here you can see some more examples. The JUnit club. So this is the output you are going to see, and the details you are going to see in the plugin section. So this is the one. So now here they are going to give what exactly the plugin will be, and what kind of data you're going to generate, and what kind of so how the syntax will be there to display the data, test reports, and other properties of the plugin apart from the displaying of the data. Right. So the steps reference, like in the pipeline, what are the steps you want to execute? Right. I want to send an email. So this is the step. Simple. That email body. So example will be something like that. These are the options. Type body, BCC, CC. Right. So finally, this is the one actually. Email. So right. So here, this is the one thing. Then if I go back, inputs, variables. Right. The global variables are nothing but any job this variable can be used. Usually, whatever the variables I have defined here, build with parameters, these variables are belongs to only this particular job, pipeline test, right? But sometimes I need to use the variable in all the jobs, and all the jobs are majority of the jobs, more than one job, or suppose more than one job, the same variable I want to use, right? So now if I go to the configuration, these are the parameters, nothing but the variables, person, biography. These variables will be used only into this job, not in the other job. Right, so there the global variables came into the picture, so that we can create the global variables, then the variables can be utilized anywhere. So when I want to use any variable, the global variables there, the option will be env has to be used. Env dot variable name. Earlier we have used params dot variable name. If the same job is trying to use the variables, whatever the variables I have defined here, in the same job I want to use, then I'm going to use params job level. Env dot global level, right? So I will show you where the variables, global variables are going to define here. Okay, so now once the variables are defined, then I can use these are the variables, the complete details documentation, right? So now here the example will be something like that, right? So Now when I want to use variable, then env dot the variable name has to be given. Now where the variable is going to declare, I will show you. So then this is one thing, the global variable reference in our pipeline. Again, the material, online documentation, example references. So these are the documentation example, like complete Jenkins pipeline stuff. You can find it here. So you don't require to go anywhere. Otherwise, again, the Google, the what to say, the Google is available. So you can go to the Google and you can do the search and you can get the data. Okay, right. So now here, let me go back. So now here, if you want to see more details or the documentations or the material, then this is the stuff for us. Okay, so now here I don't have that much of time to go each and every section and understand the section and create the job, right? So now here for that also they have given one more option. So usually this is the material section. So now we can go to the material section and look for and search for your particular step and use the block of the code and apply in your code block, apply your Jenkins files or your declarative pipeline. Now the second way is straight away can convert it. So that's what the snippet generator. Right, so you don't require to understand anything. Simply you need to understand how the plugin is going to work. You need to understand how the plugin works. That's it. So then you can easily convert the plugin into the pipeline code. Right. So now I will go to the snippet generator. Then here I can see the advantage of the snippet generator. Then here I can see the step section. Right. So now here my first step is check out the code from the version control tool. Okay. Right. So now if you want to check out the code from the version control tool, then I need to know the syntax, right? So what is the syntax I need to have so that the code will be checking out. So now here that one you can see under the sample step section. Under the step we are going to see sample step. So it is a drop down list. You can see here we are going to see most of the steps which we are going to use in our jobs. So now here I will look for option called checkout. Click on here. So now it is going to ask you what is the version control tool you want to use. Git. What is the repository you want to use? Right, so I want to use my repository. Hello world servlet. Some example. Take the repository path. Go to the pipeline. Sorry, snippet generator. Paste it. If any credentials you have provided, provide the credentials. Right, it's a public one, so nothing is required. From which branch you want to take the code? Master. Or if you want to take the code from the develop, simply change the branch name here. Right, so now if you are good, scroll down and here you can see there is a button called generate pipeline script. You can hear. We got the code. Simple, right? I don't require to understand all the stuff. Right? Many options are there, many properties there. I'm going to copy it. I will go here. Right, so here I'm going to remove this thing, pipeline arrange stages, checkout. And inside the steps, I'm going to remove and I'm going to place my code. Right, so now my first stage is completed. Nothing but check out the code. Right, so now the second stage. Run the unit test cases. Right, so to run the unit test cases, what is the command you are going to use? Maven clean test. Clean test is not clean means clear the content existing. Test means the build page. Validate, compile, test. Right. So now here, where you are going to execute this clean test? on our Linux mission, right? So on the Linux mission, nothing but wherever the Jenkins is installed, on the mission we have installed the Maven tool also. Right. So now as a command, we are going to run the Maven build base like clean package, clean install, clean test. It's a command for the Linux. So there I am going to use shell. Execute shell we are going to see. So now here clean test. This is the code block. Copy. So now here I am going to repeat the code block. So now two curly braces. Copy. After that I am going to place one more stage. Step should be the command. So I'm going to remove this block of the code. Then here copy, paste. One more stage completed. Right. So then if the test case are passed, code quality check. We'll see the code quality part separately. This is a separate thing. Then I want to create the artifact. So to create the artifact, what I'm going to do, same thing I'm going to repeat. Control C, Control V, then build artifact. Right. So instead of clean test, I'm going to use clean package. Right. Package is the one is going to create an artifact for me. Once the artifact is ready, then I want to publish. I want to push this artifact into my Nexus. So here I'm going to change my stage name as publish artifact. Right. So now here publish the artifact means you need to connect to the Nexus server. Then the Nexus to I need to push the artifact into Nexus. Right. So for that, I will go to the snippet generator again. Then I will search for the step called publish whatever the thing is there. Nexus publisher, Nexus repository manager publisher. Select it. Then here Nexus is right. That is the name I have provided and the Nexus repository. So here I think the Nexus is not ready. Copy. Right, because what are the plugins we have installed, according to the plugins, you are going to see the snippet generator steps here. So here it is not able to find the repository means the Nexus is not ready. So that is the reason it is not able to fetch this thing. So now what I am going to do here is I will go to the Nexus server and I will connect to the Nexus server and I will see whether the Nexus is running or not. Just you Nexus, right? Nexus is the user. CD service Nexus status not running. Now the Nexus is started running. So now here if I go and restart it, okay. So now the Nexus is started. Now see here, if I'm able to see the repositories. Still here it is not able to see the repository details means the server configuration. Alright, so let me go to the Jenkins dashboard, go to the manage Jenkins, go to the configuration system. Here, Sonar, sorry, not the Sonar. Nexus 143 is the Nexus server I'm trying to connect. So let me go and see. So here 81 is there. So this is 150. So now here I'm not taking the any private IPs. I might take in the public IP. So because of the service stop, the public IP got changed. So that is the reason here it is not able to take this IP. Correct. So let me change my current Nexus server IP. Better if I take the private IP. The advantage here is even though you stop and started, we are not going to see this kind of configuration issues. Right. So where it is apply, test it. So now I can see it successfully completed. Now here, refresh, go to the next step, access. Now you can see here, release a third-party test report. Right. So once the communication is successfully established, there I can see my content also. So releases, then same our GUI steps only, right? So if you guys observe here, there is no difference between the GUI stuff here. So let me apply and save it. Let me go to the GeoJob. GeoJob, and here go to the configuration. Right, so I will go to the publish manager. This is the first two steps. Right, so now here add package, group artifacted version. The same thing, right? So here group artifact ID and the versions, right? So build number is a version. So copy package war file, artifact path, target hello world war. That's it. Right, so that's what as I told you, right? If you know the plugins proper understanding, then it's very easy to convert into pipeline. So right, so here I provide the information, then generate. That's it. We got the code. Copy and inside the steps block, paste it. Right. So I want to deploy into the container. Suppose. Right. So if you want to deploy in the container, again, the same thing. Just you need to go to the step block, deploy to var or ER container. Copy. I would say select the step, then provide the var or ER files. So here whatever the information I have provided, copy, paste context. This can be anything, just a name we are going to give, so that in the Tomcat server we are going to see the name. Then add container, 8 plus series. Right, so here credentials, Tomcat credentials. Then the URL will be this one. Copy and paste here. Scroll down, generate. Okay, this is the code block. So I will go here. Just I am going to repeat the step stage again. Copy any stage. So repeat it. So here deploy. Then copy, paste. Let's see, our pipeline job is ready. Right, so that's what the code part. Right, so you don't require to learn anything. Only the thing is you require to learn here is how to use the snippet generator. That's it. Check the properties. Sometimes, as I said, sometimes you are not going to the correct properties. By that time, just you are going to Google it. So in the Google, you will come to know how to write the step. Take the step and put it in the block. Just modifying your required thing. Right. So right, sometimes again you need to write some kind of conditions, checking the if block, something like that. So now those if blocks you are not going to find here. This is the predefined code available here, not like checking the conditions. By that time, yes, we need to take the piece of code how to write the if conditions. Then we need to place in our pipeline. I will show you right how the if conditions are going to check. Okay. Right. So now here, this step, once my steps are ready, once my code steps are nothing but my pipeline code is ready, then we are not going to place the code in the console like this. Whatever we have done so far, we are not going to place something like that. Okay. So now here we are going to place one second. So so now we are not going to place the code in the console. We are going to place the code in a file. As I said, the security thing. Otherwise, anyone can change your code. If I go and if I add something like that, your job is going to fail. We don't want to give that kind of opportunity to the people, right? So it has to be restricted. It has to be restricted. So that for that, what we are going to do, we are going to place this code in a file. So now usually the file we are going to call as a Jenkins file. This is the file name we are going to without any extensions, no .txt, no .doc, something like that. Simply it's a file called Jenkins file. Now this file will be holding our pipeline code. Now here one of the intro question here with the file name. Is the file name mandatory? Like the Jenkins file only I need to give, or can I give any other name also? Yes, it's not a mandatory that you should give only the Jenkins file. It is a best practice. It's a best practice that give a file name Jenkins file. It's not like it's a mandatory. You can give any name also. That is fine. Okay. Now we are going to create a file with the name called Jenkins file. Inside the file, we are going to place our pipeline code. Now we know how to write the code with the help of snippet generator. So now where we are going to place this file? Now the next question is where you are going to place this file. Right. So now here always the practice in our real time is we are going to place the code, place the file in the version control tool. Right. So let me explain this story case again so that we should not face any confusion here. So I will open the paint again. So that's where version control tool is for DevOps also, not only for the developers. So now here, this is my this is my, suppose, a branch called develop branch. If I take this branch as a develop branch, right? So now what the developers are going to do, usually when the code is ready, correct? When the code is ready, they are going to push their code. They are going to push their code into the develop branch. So now here, suppose I am a developer. So on my machine, I have created a branch called future one. Right. So this is the, as part of the requirement, created a branch called future one. In the future branch, I have done all the changes. Then finally, what I'm going to do, this branch is going to merge to the develop branch. Correct. So now here the develop branch will be having the latest code of future one as part of our CI/CD process, right? So now your Jenkins jobs are going to trigger. We know, right, how to trigger the job automatically with the help of webhooks. So then your CI/CD job is going to trigger, and the job will be created the artifact. The artifact will be deployed into the development environment. Correct. So this is the process actually, right? This is the first stage. In the first stage, all the future branches are going to merge to the developer branch. From the developer branch, your Jenkins job is going to trigger. Then the job will be deployed the code in the development. Right. So now what the job is going to have? The job is going to have all the steps. We have seen all the steps, right? So what is the process of taking the code, building the code, deploying the code into the environment, right? So now, as I said, in the real time, we are not going to use any pipeline, sorry, plugin stuff, nothing but the graphical user interface, freestyle job, everything is a pipeline. So now we know how to write the pipeline, how to create the pipeline. So now my pipeline code is ready. So now this code is nothing but my Jenkins job. My job has to execute all the steps, all the stages, right? So where I need to place this file? So you need to place this file in our branch. From the branch where we are going to pick the code. What is the code we are going to pick? What are the code is merged to the develop branch? Right, always the latest code in the form of future branches, future one, future two, future three, or sprint one, sprint two, like that. The code is going to merge into develop branch. Once the latest code came into the develop branch, you need to take the code, latest code always, and go for the build process and deployment process. Right. So now here, wherever the latest code is coming on the branch, we are going to place our Jenkins file. That's it. Right. So now here in the developer branch, we are going to have the Jenkins file. So now the Jenkins file will be having all the steps, what to be done. Then your Jenkins job will be executed all the steps. Finally, the code will be deployed in development. So likewise, in the next stage, we are going to have the release branch. Now this release branch code will be merged, sorry, I mean to say will be deployed into the QA environment. Right, again, so right, so if the right here again, you are going to have a separate Jenkins job. So now this Jenkins job will be pointed to the release branch, right? A separate job we are going to have, that is not the Jenkins job. Like again, so this job is going to point to the release branch. So then on the code, whatever the release branch is having the code will be taken by this job and go for all the steps, then finally deploy to the QA environment. And from where we're going to pick, again, we are going to have a separate Jenkins file. We are going to place separate Jenkins file here. Now again, this Jenkins file will be having all the steps, what to be done on the release branch. Then with the help of the step, the job is going to trigger and will deploy to QA environment. Right, so once the code is pushed to release branch. Right. So now here, as the DevOps guy, now what is our duty? When the code moved from one branch to another branch, like this, we are going to place the Jenkins files in the respective branches. Then we are going to create the jobs by pointing to the branches. So now when the job is going to trigger, it will pick the corresponding Jenkins file, and what are the steps are there in the file, those steps are going to execute. Finally, the code will be deployed to the environment. Right. This is the process what we are going to follow. Like that, we are going to have the master branch. The master branch will be having the same Jenkins file. Then we are going to deploy into production environment with the one more separate Jenkins file. Right. So this is the process we are going to follow. Now, as part of our job is to create a Jenkins file, place all the steps, and place the Jenkins file on the branches, like this. Right. So now let me go to this Hello World Servlet repository. Right. So now here I will go to the Hello World Servlet repository. Then I will go to my develop branch. It's not having all the stuff here. Everything is there. Master. Okay. So I don't. So master branch. So now here in the master branch, I have placed the Jenkins file. Right. As I said. So every branch, on every branch, we are going to place our Jenkins files. Why? When the job is going to trigger, the steps has to be executed. What are the steps here? The CI/CD steps. From where the steps are going to pick? From the Jenkins file. This all picked, then we'll go to the our environments. So right. So here I have played the Jenkins file. If I open the Jenkins file here, pipeline, agent, tools, right? So we need to build the code. My tool name is Maven. Taking the code, and here building, install pages. Right? It can be taken anything, validate, compare. Now here results, JUnit test results. I want to display my test results on the dashboard. My test results, right? So here, if you want to display the test results on the dashboard like this, right? So there, the JUnit is the plugin, right? You don't know, right? Again, you don't know the syntax stuff. Simple. Go to the pipeline snippet generator, then go here and search for JUnit stuff. Click on here. Path, suppose something, star.xml, generate. That's it. This is what. So that is what I have given here. JUnit, and here I have mentioned my path. You can just right. So here you can see JUnit is the syntax. Then within the single course, you need to provide the path. So what are the path I have provided here? The same is displayed here. Likewise, archiving the artifacts. Right. So archiving the artifact again same. You can find all the steps. 90% of the steps will be available. Archiving the artifacts. So what you want to archive? I want to archive star.war files. So, right. So now this is the step we need to discuss now. SonarQube stuff. Right. So now here, if I go to my snippet generator and search for SonarQube, you can see Kobuchura, the textile, right? Everything can find it here. JNet, library, log mail, move nexus, publisher, parallel, PowerShell properties, shell script sleep. With SonarQube environment. So right, so here you can see this one. We are not going to find any options here. If I generate, you can see something like that. So how to use the SonarQube? They are going to provide the syntax part, but here the block based on the requirement, the block is going to change. That is the reason it is not having a common properties for every code block. So that is the reason they have provided some block based on the requirement. We need to provide a block of the code. Okay. but the syntax will be with SonarQube environment. This is what the syntax. So now here, let me go to our section. Right. So in the SonarQube, that this is what they have given with the SonarQube environment. Correct? You can observe with the SonarQube environment. So inside that, I have placed some code. Okay, we'll discuss this thing. Before that, there is a block called environment. Right. So now here, environment is nothing but your scanner home, where the SonarQube scanner is installed, and what is the name? Nothing but our global tool configuration. So manage Jenkins, and here go to the global tool. Right, wherever the Sonar scanner is installed, what is the name to identify the Sonar scanner, like the Maven. Right. So here, if I go to the Sonar scanner installations, this is the Sonar scanner, right? SonarQube scanner, the name, and the version is this one. So this information we are providing under the SonarQube block. My scanner home is nothing but the tool scan. SonarQube means my Sonar scanner name, SonarQube. Right. So now here, once the tool name is provided, then nothing but the tool name is nothing but the scanner details, Sonar scanner home details. Now we are going to use this Sonar scanner home, so that we are going to run the Sonar scanner. Right. So usually, as an example, every tool will be having the executable file. Correct. So now here, where lib sonar bin, right? As I told you, right? Bin is the one where you can find all the executable files like that. Right. So now here, when the moment I said sonar home means it will pick this path. Right. From where is going to pick the path? From the tool details. So because I did not install the Sonar scanner, I asked my system to install it. If I install the Sonar scanner, then I need to provide the path where the Sonar is installed. Now here we are asking the Jenkins to install automatically. So when I want to pick the home path, simply I can refer the name. So that automatically is going to pick the executable file path for the scanner. So that is the reason here we are providing the scanner home, the path details into a variable called scanner home. When I want to execute the Sonar scanner, I need to tell my code like this is the location where you can find the Sonar scanner, right? So go and pick that from location and execute it, right? So from the path location will be scanner home. As I told you, all the executable files inside the bin directory. Now this is the location of my Sonar scanner installation location, nothing but something like that, where lib sonar. Then bin is the folder where you can find all the executable files. Now here, what is the executable file here? Sonar scanner, right? Now we know, right? So SonarQube is going to use the Sonar scanner. Now the Sonar scanner is going to run against the code and is going to generate the code quality. Then the code quality will be pushed to the SonarQube dashboard, right? So now with the code, if you want to handle, so now this is this, right? So now here, this is the location. This location is not constant to every server, right? So now I am going to install Sonar scanner from manually. I will download it and I will do it. So now the path is going to change. If I ask the system, then this is the path. That is the reason here in the code block, they are not going to provide any kind of generic statements. So some block. So now based on the thing, how we are going to configure on the server, provide the path, provide the details. So now here, I have provided the details, nothing but where the Sonar scanner is resides, where the Sonar scanner is installed. So now the Sonar scanner is going to trigger, then it's going to run against my code, right? So this is what the step here is. Now this is the next step, timeout. So now the timeout is an extra step, optional step, nothing but checking the quality gate. Checking the quality gate. So now here, this timeout step, what it's going to do? It is going to execute the Sonar scanner, and the Sonar scanner is going to push the report into the SonarQube server. Now the Sonar has to check whether the quality gate is passed or not. If the quality gate is passed, then go for the next step. Otherwise, fail it. We have seen for that we have a separate plugins. Quality gate is a separate plugin in the GUI freestyle stuff, right? So we have used the plugins also to check the quality gate. Quality gate is a separate plugin. We have configured it. Then finally we have used it. Right somewhere I think it is in the some other guy. See it. Quality gate is the plugin. Quality gate, right? So now here, this is the one, nothing but this step, right? So here the thing is, one is it's going to check the quality gate. The second one is the time wait. The time wait is nothing but, so now here once the report is generated, then the quality gate will be displayed as a passed or failed. So now here your Jenkins has to go to the quality gate and check it is passed or failed, the status. If the status is passed, then okay, fine, go forward, go ahead. If the status is failed, then stop the job. Again, in between, the response time is taking more than some threshold value. But usually, my response time is nothing but my Jenkins will go to the quality gate and it will get the response in a less than 1 minute. That is what my response time. So now here, how long you want to wait for the response time also, along with the checking the quality gate, how long you want to wait for the response time. Usually it should be one time, 1 minute, one time, sorry, 1 minute. So now I will give it somewhat grace period. Sometimes network slow, internet slow, something like that. Some glitches will be happen. So due to the reason, we are going to give some grace period. So 1 minute I'm going to give it 1 more minute. So I will give the 2 minutes of time by adding the grace period. So the max time for to wait for the response time is 2 minutes. Right. So within the 2 minutes, if the response I'm not going to get means I have to fail, means something is happening. So due to that reason, your server is not responding properly. Otherwise, what will happen? It will go for the infinitive time. Now your job will be in a waited stage. Nothing but is going to hang. So now it is not going to release the resources. It is going to occupy some resource on the Jenkins server, the memory, the CPU utilization, right? So everything is going to occupy by the job. So due to the reason, the other jobs will be in the queue. So many things you are going to see by hanging up this job. So that is the reason we are going to give some time. Some time means how long you can wait for it. Otherwise, fail the job. So that then I will go and see why that particular step is hanged out. That's what the timer here. Right. So how long you want to wait for the response? So 10 minutes I want to wait here. It is in the minutes format. 10 minutes means very huge, very big amount of time. Okay. Right. Anyway, that is based on the project and based on the thing. Right. That's what here time. Right now here in the Sonar Cube section, we are going to have three stages. One is what is the tool name? What is the tool name which you have configured in the global tool configuration for the Sonar scanner? Then the second one is where the scanner is located, the path. This is the main one. So that the scanner is going to execute. Then third one is the quality gate check. That's it. So now here, once the Sonar scanner is done, then the artifact upload. We have seen, right? So where you want to upload the artifacts. Then finally, postable actions. Right. So now in the postable actions, right, we will be having two sections. One is success and the second one is failure. Right. So what you want to do if the job is success and what you want to do if the job is failure. Right. So now here I want to send an email notification if the job is successful failure. So for that I'm going to use the mail. Right. What is the syntax? I don't know the syntax. Simple. Again, go to the snippet generator. Search for mail. Mail. To whom you want to send an email. Any CC, any subject, pipeline job status. something certain generate pipeline. This is the syntax, mail, BCC something, right? So I have copied it and pasted it here. Right, so now here success and failure, then both the case I want to send an email to this guy, right? So this is what my pipeline, so that it is going to execute all the stages. What are the stages I have defined? Then here two more things we need to observe here. Two more things are nothing but two other configurations. That one is the sonar cube step again. The one is the sonar cube step again. So here I have mentioned the timeout is 10 minutes, so that the quality gate status can be verified within the 10 minutes of time, and I can wait for the 10 minutes of time for the response. If the beyond 10 minutes, simply I'm going to abort the job, abort the pipeline. I'm going to abort it. Right. So now here, this earlier we have used the plugin called quality gates plugin. Now this plugin will communicate with the Jenkins. The Jenkins plugin is going to communicate with the SonarCube, then it is going to give the response to us. But here I am not going to use any plugin here. Suppose you let me go and see whether the quality gates SonarCube plugin is available or not. MNOPQRST or P, right? So after P, I can see R only, no Q, right? So no means I don't find any quality gates plugin here. So then here this when I'm not going to use the quality gate plugin means my Jenkins cannot get the status of my particular project when the plugin is not available. So there what we are going to what we are going to use here is the webhooks. Again, the webhooks are going to come into picture. Right, so when the gate and the Jenkins want to have a communication, so that whenever the code push to the GitHub, automatically your job has to be triggered with the help of webhooks. In the same fashion here also, your Jenkins will go to the SonarCube and check the quality gate status with the help of webhooks. Right, so whenever we are going to use the pipeline stuff, now the pipeline is not going to have the quality gate support. So now that is the reason we are going to use the webhooks to get the status of the quality gates. Right. So where we are going to configure this webhooks. Right. So for that, go to your SonarCube server, open the SonarCube server here. So let me open my SonarCube server 9000. Login, admin 123. Sorry, I think admin only. Admin. Right. So now here, go to the administration tab. These are all our roles and responsibilities. Everything is our responsibility. DevOps is responsibility. Administration tab, then go to the configuration, and here you can see there is an option called webhooks. Click on the webhooks. Click on create webhook. As of now, no webhooks are defined here. Click on create. So name, I'm going to use Sonar or Jenkins something. Right, so here you can take webhooks. The syntax of the webhook is copy Jenkins server IP followed by the port number, then SonarCube webhook standard name. This is the mandatory and standard. For GitHub webhook. For the SonarCube webhook. That's it. Now here, this is the common story, like IP and port number. So I will go and take my IP and port number of my Jenkins server, paste it, Then here I am going to copy and paste. That's it. Copy this guy and go to the webhooks, paste it, create. Right, so now here HTTP, IP address, port number of the SonarCube slash SonarCube hyphen webhook. Right. So this is one thing which you need to configure so that the quality gates are going to check. Otherwise, it will be in the infinite time. It's going to take the infinite time. Means it's not able to check the status. Your job will be hanged. Now the next step. This is one thing which you need to configure. Only one-time configuration, guys. It is not like every job you need to configure. It's just one-time configuration from the SonarCube side. That's it. Any job can use the same, right? It's not like any not to belongs to any particular job. It's a global configuration, like our GitHub. So then the next check will be right. If you guys observe here, the SonarCube step in the GUI part, it is going to use the properties. What is the project name? What is the project key? Where the content code is located, and what is the target class files. Right. So now here these properties where you are going to define here. Otherwise, your job won't understand from where the code has to pick it up and where the source scanner has to be run. That those information we are going to provide to the SonarCube when you are going to go with the pipeline process in a form of a file. We are going to create a file, and the file we are going to place the properties. This is the standard name you need to use. You should not change any other name. Sonar-project.properties. Then only the SonarCube will recognize this is the file will be having the required properties to scan the code. Right. So where you are going to place? Wherever the Jenkins file is placed. Wherever the Jenkins file is placed, in the same location, we are going to place the properties. So if I open the properties here, then the same thing. Now the properties will remain the same, no difference. Key, name, version, sources, libraries. Key, name, version, sources, libraries. This is the extra encoding. You can ignore this one. So now here I am going to give some name. Hello world servlet pipeline. Some name I have here. Copy, paste. My job I'm going to use here. So I'm going to create a separate job here, suppose. Okay, same job I'm going to use. Target purpose. This is my Java bindings, and this is my where my source code is present, and this is my project name and key name. So on project properties, I updated it. So now here the job name I have provided is Hello World Servlet Pipeline. Copy it. Save. So this is one more thing which we need to configure when you are going to go with the pipeline stuff. Right. So now that's it. So now our pipeline code is ready. Okay. So now let me try to execute this pipeline. Okay. Right. So for that, the first thing will be we require a job to execute this pipeline. I need a job. Right. So for that, what I am going to do here is I will go to my Jenkins dashboard. Then I'm going to create a new item here. Right, I'm going to provide the name, whatever the name I have provided in the properties file, hello world servlet pipeline. Then my job style is pipeline job. Click on OK. This is the pipeline chart. So now here we are not going to use any console because my pipeline file is placed in my repository under the branch master with the name Jenkins file. Right. So what we need to do here is we need to give we need to give we need to provide the repository name where the Jenkins file is located. Right. So now here this is the repository where my Jenkins file is located, and which branch? The branch master, and the repository name is hello world servlet where I can find my Jenkins file, code, copy. Then here don't use the pipeline script, change to pipeline script from SCM. Select it. Now under the SCM, change from the none to git, and here the script path, the Jenkins file, and the repository URL will be your repository path. Hello servlet git. Right. So here scroll down. It is pointed to master branch only. Then my file name is Jenkins file. By default, it will give the Jenkins file. If the file name is not the Jenkins file, then you need to provide the file name. Then that's it. No other properties. This is the property which you can set up when the code push it to the git automatically. The value to trigger. This is the one thing can configure here. Then apply and save. That's it. So right. So now no other person can modify your code. They cannot modify the code, right? Because the code is not available. The code is available inside the repository in the file called Jenkins file. Only the other person can touch this file. Otherwise, no one can modify. Security, the safest way, right? So we'll take a break here, guys, for 15 minutes. Then we'll come back and see the execution part of the pipeline. Then we'll see the other concepts. Okay. So right now the time is 12:50. We'll meet at 1:05.
Okay.
So I'm going to stop. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So now this is my pipeline job. No other configurations except this pipeline stuff. Right. So here I have pointed this repository is nothing but where the pipeline is present. That's file, which branch, and what is the repository name. Apply, save, then try to execute it. Hello, will now. So here now you can see stage by stage. The entire pipeline is split into parts. So each part is nothing but each stage of the pipeline. First one is check out the code, map and installation, tool declaration, preparation, build, results, so on step. So maybe it is waiting for the quality gate here. Yes, it is successfully done. Artifacts upload and declarative postable actions. Right. So all the steps are successfully executed. No issues. Now here you can find each step execution time and also each step logs. So that is one of the advantages of the pipeline. Right. So now here if I go to my Sonar Cube and click on the projects, you can see hello world servlet pipeline. Right. This is came from my pipeline stuff, my Jenkins file. And go to the job. Refresh. Right. So here you can see artifact last to build it. So the artifacts are stored, and here you can see the test results and my quality gate status, everything. Right. Same like our GUI stuff, but the job is built with the code, our declarative pipeline code. Right. So now here, let me explain this stuff, guys, for you. Artifacts. Right. So this is sometimes useful for us. So again, it is not an entry question for us, but yes, it is one of the useful plugin for us. So usually we are going to have the code something like this. This is one module, login module, and this is my online banking, and this is my mutual funds, something like that. So now the teams are going to work on this module separately. A separate team is going to work on the login module, and separate team is going to work on the online banking module, and separate team is going to work on the mutual funds. Right. So now here, whenever the code block is completed for the respective modules, the people are pushing the code to this particular module, then the code will build up and deploy into our environments. Then they are going to validate of the particular modules. So now suppose the login module part is completed, some 25% of the code is completed. They want to see that 25% is working properly or not. Right. So now what they will do, they will push the code, our jobs are going to trigger, the job will be deployed the code into the environment. Now they are going to validate it. Likewise the online banking, the online mutual funds. But at the end of the day, I want to see the complete application. Now this is my application, my banking application. This application should have the login, then online banking, and the mutual funds. Right? This is what the application is actually, correct? So this is what I want to see, verify, so that I can confirm like this code is not impacted to other services. Yes, are the performance, the response time of the each modules, like or a bigger picture, we can see the application. This is the pieces level, and this is the complete application level. Right. So now this will be the daily progress, daily, like whatever the progress that developers are going to implement, that will be tested individually. End of the day, we are going to see all together. Right. So now here, what I require here is, when I'm going to pack everything, online banking, login, everything. So what I require here is, I need these artifacts. What are the artifacts are created from the login, and I need the artifacts of the online banking, and I need the artifacts of the mutual funds. Right. So then if I place all the artifacts in a single place, now nothing but my main application. So right. So end of the day, what I'm going to do, when I want to check the complete application, so whatever the artifacts are created individual modules, those artifacts I'm going to bring it here. Then I'm going to build the main application package by taking the latest artifacts of the respective modules. Right. So now here, our process will be, it's a separate repository for the login, means you will be having a separate Jenkins job, correct, to test it. Likewise, we are going to have a separate Jenkins job to test the online banking. Likewise, we are going to have a separate Jenkins job to check the mutual funds. This is module level, and we are going to have a main Jenkins job. This is the main job. So this job will be having nothing but take all the latest artifacts and build it in a single package. This is my Jenkins, right? So now here, this job requires the artifacts, the output of this job, the output of this job, output of this job. So now here, the concept here is moving the data or copying the data between the jobs. That's what the concept. This is an example I'm providing you guys to understand more better way. But the concept here is, when I want to copy the data can be a file or a war file or anything. When I want to copy the data between the jobs, so how we are going to copy it? That's where the archive artifacts came into the picture. Right. So now, when I say archive the artifacts, when the moment I'm going to say archive the artifact, what the artifact archiving will do here. So if I see here, I said archive the artifacts. Which one I want to archive? I want to archive my war file. Whatever the war file is going to generate with the build. Right. So here, whatever the job is going to generate the login war file, the artifact, I want to store it so that the other jobs can take the artifacts. Right. So now here, I said take this war file and archive it, store it somewhere. So store it somewhere means it won't store in the workspace. Workspace is a temporary location where it is going to override always when the job is going to trigger. That's where you are not going to store anything in the workspace. Right? When the moment the job is triggered, the workspace will be overridden with the latest content. So previous content will be erased or overwritten. Right? So now not the workspace is the location where where you are going to store your artifacts. Right? So now here archive artifacts where it is going to store. So now the archive artifacts will be stored on the job history level. Okay. So let me connect it. Let me connect a server, Jenkins server. So now here our Jenkins home location cd where lib Jenkins works. That's another workspace. So now here we are going to see a directory jobs, right? So now we are not going to the workspace because workspace is a temporary location. So I am going to go to the jobs. So now go to the jobs, ls. Now in the jobs, we are going to see all of your Jenkins jobs. What are the jobs we have created here as of now? Right. The jobs information we are going to find in this job. Now here our job is hello world servlet pipeline. Go to the hello world servlet pipeline. Ls. Here again we are going to see one more directory called with the name builds. Go to the builds. Right. So I'm in the builds. So ls. You can see there is a number, build number. Right. So here if I go to my job, hello world servlet pipeline, as of now only one job is executed. So that's what here only one I can see. So now here let me go to the job one, ls. Now we can find there is a directory called archive. So this archive will be created when you have a step called archive artifacts. Otherwise you don't create. So now go to the archive, ls. Now there you can see a target directory. The path, whatever the path you have provided, with the path is going to create the directory names. Target, then inside that hello world one. So now here this is the safest location. It is not going to override. It is not going to override anywhere. Simply it will be stored in a safely in some other location called this one. Job, inside the jobs you will be having this one. So now now this is the archiving, nothing but storing the data into some safest location. So now when the moment, right, so here this guy job is done. So now here this guy will store the output of this particular module in some location called archive. So now what this guy will do, it will call this artifact. From this job I want this artifact. So now the artifact will be copied. That's where we are going to see archive artifacts and copy artifacts. Two things we are going to see: archive artifact and copy artifact. These are the two plugins. So one is to store the artifacts under builds, and second one is copy the artifacts from the job, from the whatever the job you have pointed from the job, what are the artifacts are stored, those will be copied. These two plugins. Some useful plugins. Right? So this is not our entry question there. Okay, I will show you. So this is how to archive. Then I will show you how to use the copy artifact. Okay, I will show you some other sections. Some other sections we are going to discuss. There I'm going to show you how to use the copy artifacts. Right. So now here, let me go back to our pipeline. Right. So now here, let's try to understand few more sections of the pipeline, so that you will have some good understanding. Right. So now these are the common steps. Right. These are the common steps for your CI/CD. Right. So now I'll show you some other important sections which may require for us. Okay. So what I will do, I will go to my project. As I said, every branch and every branch you are going to place the Jenkins files. Okay. Right. So here we have given a name for the environment level like dev one. As I said, Jenkins file is the not the mandatory one. You can give any name. Right. So now here we have given something like that. So right. So here this is the pipeline. Just I will try to explain you guys. Like it's not like every pipeline will be the same. Okay. so so now here, as I said, our declarative pipelines are going to support the scripted pipelines. Nothing but the groovy one also. Right. So now you can add the groovy into a declarative pipeline so that you can achieve the requirements instead of going with the complete groovy. Right. So now here the one is variables declarations. Right. So now the advantage of the variables here is right. So here if I have a right in the Maven also explained that the variable advantage. If I have variable something like version 2.2. So now in my code block I need to use the version multiple times in my code block. Right. So here use Maven version 2.2. Apply Jenkins something some name I'm going to use. Version 2.2 has to be applied. Right, so like that I have the code. So now here this is the code I'm having something. Now here I have used the version 2.2 in multiple places. Right. So now some point of time the version is upgraded from 2.2 to 2.3. So now here what I need to do, wherever the version is applied, I need to go to the each and every location, then I need to modify it. If I use the 2 times, it's a simple job. If I'm going to use 10 times, some time taken, 20 times, some more time, 100 times, yes, half an hour time is going to waste or 1 hour, right? So now here, if you miss one thing, it's going to impact your code, right? So now here instead of going for the hard code, right? So what I can do here is simply I'm going to use a variable. Right, so now here what I'm going to do, instead of going with the static, I will go with the variable. So that, and when the version is changed, simply I'm going to change it. Then that's what the variables concept, right? So any programming language, any scripting language, the variables are nothing but, so right, you can have the dynamic content change. You accept the user inputs. Well, multiple areas you can use. This is one of the best example for, right? So now in our pipelines also, right, instead of going with the static things, you can have a variables part. Now this is not the declarative scenario. This is the scripted pipeline, nothing but the groovy part. So now in our pipelines, I have used both the groovy as well as the declarative, so that I can have a good pipeline. A good pipeline means a better maintainability pipeline. In like so, that's where I have used the variable section here. So now here when I want to use the variables in our pipeline, then define and the variable and some values, so that I can use these variables wherever I want to use. When I want to maintain it, simply I can change. I am going to change it here. That is one of the advantages. So this part is something like that. So then here, right, environment, we'll discuss the global variables. These are the global variables. I will show you where the global variables are going to declare. Then this is the way we are going to use. Then options, right? As I said, the options are nothing but here how many bills you want to maintain, right? So here the bills I have declared as a variable. Now no static, I am going to use a variable. So when I want to change the 20 to 30, simply I'm going to change it here. That's what the advantage of the variable. So then agent, right? So agent, right? As I said, if you have multiple servers, then on which server you want to execute the job. So right now we don't have right here we have the multiple servers. So that is the reason I have explicitly mentioning like where I want to execute. We'll see this one like agent thing, right? So when we are going to go for the master and slave concept, then you guys will understand exactly, right? So this is like the name, the server name, and which server we want to execute. So now here is sh blocks, shell only we are going to execute. So this is something like your Linux commands, my .NET commands. So this is fine. So now here, if you guys observe here, as of now, I have shown you. As of now, we have seen. Yes, we have seen only pipeline block, agent, and the stages block. Inside the stages, we have the separate stages. Each stage will be having a one more block called steps block. Each stage. That's what we have seen. So now, as I said, we can club the scripted pipelines, nothing but the Groovy also with the declarative, right? So when you want to club the Groovy with the declarative, right? So there, the syntax, the section will be script, right? So now what is the advantage of the script here is, yes, you can check the conditions, we can write the loops like a programming language, like a scripting language. You can write the functionalities, you can do the whatever you want to do. But in the declarative pipeline, we are not going to have predefined block of code, nothing but to check the conditions, write the loops. It is going to have the predefined block of code, nothing but how to use the plugins. That's what we have covered so far. So when I want to go with the checking the conditions and loops, there we will go with the script block. Right? So now the script block here, what we have used here is, right. So now here, if if the particular step got failed, again guys, this is for the informative sake, don't try to think about this is like a difficult task for us. No, it's not at all difficult. Just try to understand and leave it separately, so that when you are going to use it, by the time you will understand very clearly. Like it's a one-time job for us. So once you started working on this thing, so hardly it will take 1 hour time for us to understand and can implement it. Right? So safer side, upfront I'm going to explain you, try to the other options, so that it will be in your mind. It will be easy for you when you're going to work with the pipelines, right? So now here, so now this is the script block. Now the script block, nothing but the scripted one. The groovy part I'm going to club with my declarative part. So where I'm going to use here is, so if my step is failed, then finally what has happened? Your job is going to fail. Right? If the step is failed, the job is going to fail. Now here we don't want to fail the step. As I said, unit test cases. If the unit test case is got failed, obviously your job is going to fail. So right in the Maven, we have a property called ignore the test cases. We have seen that one. But this is my .NET code. So now this .NET code is not having something like that. Ignore the test cases. So there, what I have done here is, I have taken the error handling, try catch. Try catch is an error handling in the Groovy. Like any other, not any like every programming language will be having the error handling. All the programming languages. So now here in the Groovy also have a error handling concept, nothing but the try catch blocks. So now here what I did here is, whatever the logic I am going to execute, I put it in my try block. That suppose if something is failed, so now here I'm going to run the test cases. .NET test is the command. If the test case are failed, immediately what happened? This step is going to fail. Right. So here the requirement here is, if the test case are failed, don't fail the job, because the developers are not having the sufficient time to work with the unit test cases. So now here what is my thing is, so then this is the right the best practice, always fail the job. But due to the workload, now the developers are not going to handle the test cases. So now the requirement is just go for the application implementation. Later on we see the unit test cases. But so then the requirement came to me like, even though the test case are failed, don't fail the job, simply move it forward. So now here what I need to do here is, if the test case are failed, then immediately I need to if the test case are failed, I don't need to fail the job, simply I need to go for means skip the step, either remove the code block or comment out. Right, so again it's a maintenance activity for me, right? So now if I remove the code block, again right, this is a temporary thing. Again after some point of time, again we will bring back the test cases. Again I have to copy and paste the code, I need to bring back the code, right? That is the time taken process for me. If I miss one line or two lines, again the jobs are going to fail. or comment the code. That is also again problem for me. Again, commenting the code, uncommenting the code, right? So I don't want to do like. Then I implement the concept of error handling. Right. So if the test is failed, then simply what it will do, it will throw an error. So now here I'm handling it. Now here what I'm going to do, don't exit. Exit zero. Here I'm going to give zero. Zero means even though the step is failed, it is going to make the written code as zero, means it is going to make it a success. Simple. So that is going to go for the next step. Right. So now here as of now, when I require the test case back, simply I'm going to make it as one. So that the test case are failed. So again means it is going to fail the job. When the requirement comes like don't fail the job, then I'm going to make it as zero. Like that. See, this is based on the requirement. Again, I'm going to tell you guys, not every project will be like that. Based on the requirement, we are going to do this kind of activities. So there in the declarative pipeline, we are not going to have such kind of options. Then we are going to use the scripted pipelines when required, not every time. When required, this is one case like that. So like that here, again I will show you something. Right. So here only if conditions, right? As I said, declarative pipelines are not going to give you the options of checking the condition. There again, I will go over the scripted one. So script block is started. In the script block, I have checking the if conditions. So now if my branch is developed branch, then only go for this step. Otherwise, don't go for like that. So like that, you can check the conditions if the quality gate is passed or if conditions, right? So when you are going to only the thing what you need to remember here is when you are going to use the scripted pipelines, you need to start with the script block. That's it. Script block has to be open. Inside the script block, you need to write you need to put, not the write or put whatever it may be, or copy paste our guru system. Right? So this is one area like where exactly. So sometimes nowadays people are asking in depth in the sense that they are not asking the definitions, they are asking the use cases where exactly you have used it, right? So that's where they want to see from our end, so that they are going to confirm he's a real time guy, right? You are going to tell, they are going to ask you, well, can I, if I use the declarative pipelines, if I want to do some kind of other functionalities, can I use the other functionalities in the declarative pipeline? No, you cannot. Means if conditions loops, then how we are going to implement that? Then you are going to tell, even if I'm going to go the declarative pipeline, then I can club the Groovy also, scripted pipelines also. Then the next question will be how we are going to club. You are going to tell with the help of the script block. Right. Okay. Right. Where exactly you have used it? What is the scenario to have a scripted pipeline in the declarative pipeline? So this is one thing you can tell. This is one of the use case. Don't fail the jobs. Or if the branch is only this one, only the particular branch, I want to execute that like that. Right. So this is one thing, guys. So using the scripted blocks, then I will show you the other thing like copy artifacts. Right, as I said, archiving and copying. Right. So here I am going to archive a file here, version.txt, with the help of archive artifacts plugin, so that this file will be copied, stored in the builds. Right. Just now, what are the location I have shown you guys. Right. So now here, when I want to use this version file in some other jobs, archive means you are going to store the data in some location, some safest location. Then the job can be utilized. Sorry, the data can be utilized in some other job. Right. So now how we are going to use this data in some other job. Right. So here, if you guys observe here, this is the redemptions repository. Under that, I have this Jenkins file. So now I will go to the QA file, redemptions, then some other job. So means some other QA file means some second job. So now this is my second job. I will go to QA job. Then here I am going to use copy archive. Right. So copy archive can be used to copy. Let's see here. You are not going to find the copy archive. Right? Why? Because the copy archive plugin is not installed. Once the plugin is installed, then you are going to see the copy archive also. Here I can see archive artifact because I have installed the archive artifact plugin. That is the reason I can see the option here. So now here, if I go and install the plugin, manage Jenkins, manage plugins, and go to the available section. Search for copy archive, copy artifacts, download now and install after. Right? Once the plugin installed, then you are going to see the option in the snipper generator. So download successfully, then select it. Right, so if now let's go to the snipper generator section again. So the snipper generator option can be seen with the pipeline syntax. This syntax option can be seen in the pipeline jobs only, for the pipeline jobs only. Open it and go to the snipper generator, and here you can see copy artifacts. That's from another project. Right, so now here you can see the option. Now it's going to ask you what is the project, from which project you want to copy job. Sorry, if you want to copy the files, then what is the content you want to copy. Right. So here, if I go to my code here, I am going to tell my project is nothing but project name, a variable I have defined. So project path. This is my location. So this is the development environment. Under that, this is the job name. My dev job. From that, this is the QA job. From the job, I want to copy the artifacts. So what is the copy? So right here, if you don't mention anything, so whatever the artifacts are stored, that will be copied. If it is a single file or multiple files, it's going to copy all the stuff like that. So like that, this is one of the one of the thing, like this is the file. It's going to copy it. So like that. So copying, archiving and copying nothing but when you want to copy the data between the jobs. So that is one plugin, guys. Very useful plugin for actually. That's why I'm trying to explain this. Right. So now here, this is the pipeline stuff, and you can see these are the pipeline jobs you are going to create by using the declarative pipelines, and also the Groovy can be also clubbed together with the help of script block. So now here I required a variable. I required a variable which I want to use commonly across all the jobs, global variables. Right. So if you guys observe here, I am going to use post action. Always I want to send a notification to whom? Teams notify, some variable I have defined, a global variable, so that the same teams notify means the people whom I want to send, I can use in all the repositories, in all the jobs, instead of going for the separate one for each and every job. So now here, if I go to the some other service members, right now we are in the redemptions. Now I will go to the members. So here I will go to the develop branch. Let me open the one of the file, Jenkins file, teams. Right. So usually if you declare any variable that will be locally to the job, not to other job. Correct. So these variables I can utilize inside my code, inside my this pipeline code. I cannot use this variable in some other job. But I want to use the common properties, right? The common property means I want to send an email notification to the people. The people are common to for every job. The same set of emails, the same set of people I'm going to use to send in notifications. For all the jobs, the same set of people. There, instead of going for the individual job declarations, you can have a one common variable, nothing but the global variable. That global variable can be used in across all the jobs. So these variables where we are going to define. So those common, the global variables, we are going to call as a global variables. The global variables are going to declare on the configuration level. So manage Jenkins. Go to the Jenkins and go to the manage Jenkins. And here go to the configuration system. So now here in the configuration section, if I scroll down, you can see global parameter properties. If I select this one, now here you can see environment variables. Add name version 2.2 as an example. So now here, this is the variable I can utilize, I can use in all my jobs like this dollar and the variable. Dollar is for to get the value of this variable. Right? So now what are the variable I have defined here? The value I'm going to get. So likewise, we can define the global properties, nothing but the global variable, so that this variable can be utilized across all the jobs, not to the job level. This is one of the important property for us. Right. So now here it can be anything. You can have the email stuff, right? So here QA team. I'm going to use QA-team. So now here in the QA team, I'm going to define the intelli.com. It's a comma intelli.com like that. So now like that I'm going to define my emails. So now this email I'm going to use to send the email notification to the team instead of going for the hardcoded stuff. Simply I'm going to do it. Like that, the whole global will can be used in any job. So based on the purpose. So this is the area. Right. Right. Okay. So this is about the pipelines. Then how we are going to create the pipelines and what are the sections will be there in the pipeline. Right. So let me explain you the syntax again. Right. So let me go there. So pipeline is the first block. Right. Once the block is started, there you are going to use options. If any extra options you want to provide, like the discard variables or parameters. If you want to pass any parameters, inputs, right, then we are going to have agent section. So agent section is nothing but on which server job has to be executed. We'll see this thing later, but yes, here this is the agents. Then we are going to have the stages section. So now inside the stages, we are going to have stage. So now this stage is nothing but your steps. What are the steps you want to execute? Right. So now here, right. So here's the step means the step name, stage name or stage name. Now inside the stage, you are going to have the steps. Now these steps are nothing but your code block. What are the code you want to execute? Now this is stage. Likewise, you are going to write multiple stages. Stage name one like that. But once all the stages are defined, then the stage block, we are going to close it here. See, now then we are going to write the last called post build actions. So now this post build actions will be having two sections. One is success, and the second one is failure. Then the post block is going to close, and finally your pipeline block is going to close. That color here you can see the pipeline. Right, this is the so now this is what's in. Or you can use something like that. So if I want to perform the action even though for my success or failure, simply I can use any. So that for any action, success or failure, anything, here it is going to execute. Or else you can go with the success or failure like that. Right. So now this is the syntax of a pipeline. So now with the pipeline, if I want to club the scripted pipelines also, then you are going to write inside the steps script block like that. So that you can include the Groovy scripts also. within your decorative pipeline. This is an optional based on the requirement. Right. So this is what our pipeline, and this is what our syntax of the pipelines. Right. So now I will show you the advantage with the pipeline. Right. So advantage of the pipeline here is, as I said, when I'm going to maintain multiple environments. Right. So here I have different environments. Right. So here my different environments are nothing but develop, release, master, and here my development environment, and this is my QA environment, and this is my production environment. All right, so now here, whenever the code comes to development branch, the code is going to deploy into the development environment. Right? When the code moves to the release branch, code has to move deploy to the QA environment. When the code is going to go to master, then it has to deploy in production. Right, so now here, 3 environments means we are going to have 3 Jenkins jobs: development job, QA job, prod job. Right? So means how many jobs we need to create? We require at least 3 jobs for a repository. Right? Right? Every repository will be having these many branches as part of the branching strategy. So now based on the branch, you will be having a separate Jenkins job to deploy the code into the respective environment. Minimum 3, right? Right? We will be having one more branch for the staging. For the UAT environment, we will be having one more branch called staging branch. Right? So means you required 4 jobs. Minimum 4 jobs are required. So to deploy the code into the respective environments. Right? So now here, for one repository, 4 jobs. So right. So now here, if you guys observe here, we are having n number of repositories. So this for my application, there I can see n number of repositories. These are the repositories. So now if they suppose they're all suppose take it as right. So here I can see 54 repositories. So now here for the 54 repositories, if I want to create a set of the jobs for the environments, means 54 into 4. Right. So now here around 60 plus jobs. Right. 60 plus jobs I need to create. Time taken process again. Right. So now here the pipeline is going to provide an option. You don't require to create the job. Your job is to create a template. Create a template. Not the template we are going to call as a pipeline. Now create the code for the branch and place the code into the respective branches. So now here, if I go to my member service repository, then I am in the master branch. I have the Jenkins file. Then if I go to my release branch for the QA environment, I have a Jenkins file. For my development environment, the branch is developed. So if I go to the develop branch, then I am going to have a Jenkins file. Right. So now our job is to create a Jenkins file, create a Jenkins file for each branch. For each branch, you about the respective environments. Then place the Jenkins file into the branches like this. Check out the file. Who is going to take this action? DevOps guys only, not the developers, because this file is belongs to DevOps, not for the developer. They don't know about this file. So, right? We have to create this file. We have to place all the steps as part of the CI/CD process. Then we have to check in this file into the respective branches. That's where Git is required for us. Right? Again, I'm repeating it. So now here the thing is, we are not going to create any separate Jenkins jobs. Simply I'm going to create a Jenkins files, nothing but the templates for the respective environments. Then I'm going to place the Jenkins files into the branches. Then I'm going to ask my Jenkins to create the jobs automatically. Automatically create the jobs for me. I'm not going to create any separate jobs for each branch. Right. So that's what we are going to call as a multi-branch pipelines. So this is one of the entry area for us, and also the real-time practice. The real-time. Right. So now here if how we are going to maintain the environments, how we are going to create the job. This is all the question they are going to ask. These are the environments. Now how we are going to deploy the code into the environments. For that, are you going to create the separate jobs? No, I'm not going to create a separate job. So simply I'm going to create a template, nothing but the Jenkins files. The files are going to place in the repositories. So automatically my Jenkins is going to create the job for each branch. Let's see here. So now here I will go to my Jenkins. Then I'm going to click on new item. Then here I'm going to click on new item here. Multi-branch test. Some job name. So scroll down here. You can say multi-branch pipeline. Select it. Okay. Let's say there are there are the properties are available. The options here. So now here for us, simply go to the branch sources. Click on the add source where the code is resides into my git. Then here the repository. So not this one. I will sign out. So now here I'm going to take my allowable servlet, some repository. Then here I'm going to take this repository part, go to the multi-branch pipeline, forward it. Right? Since the public, no credentials. So now here we are not going to provide any separate. So if you guys observe here, we are going to provide the branch name. We are going to provide the branch name here. Our pipeline. Configure. Here we are going to specifically mention like this is the branch where my Jenkins file is present. So now means this job is created based on the branches. Right. So now here for my repository, suppose if I have 3 branches means I need to create 3 jobs here. Right. So now to do, instead of doing all the stuff means instead of creating individual job for the each branch, I am going to create only one job. That job will taken care of creating the jobs based on the branches. That's it. Right. So now here for that, here we are not going to mention any separate branches. So that what this job will do, it will go to the repository, then it will start scanning each and every branch in the repository. Start scanning each and every branch of the repository. Then whatever the branch is having the Jenkins file, automatically job is going to create. Right. So now here the F1 is having the branch Jenkins file. If I go to the future, no Jenkins file means for the future branch, no job is going to create. So likewise, what this multi-branch pipeline will do, it will scan every branch of the repository, then whatever the branch is having the Jenkins file, that branch for the branch is going to create a job. Automatically one job is going to create. Right. So now let me set up that one. So simply select, give the repository name. all branches here is going to scan, then apply and save. That's it. So now here you can see scan multi-branch pipeline. Now click on here. So now it is going to scan. You can check the logs also, the scan log, scan pipeline log, multi-branch pipeline log. Here if I go to here, see here it is going to scan. It is going to scan all the branches. For each branch, it is going to create the jobs here. Now whatever the Jenkins file, whatever the file is having the steps, those steps are going to execute. So now you guys can observe here, checking the branches. It went to the future one branch. Jenkins file not found. So it does not match the criteria. Leave it. Checking the develop branch. Jenkins file is found. Create a job. Master branch found. Create a job. Master backup, find, create a job. Integration branch, no Jenkins file, don't create. Like that, it will scan all the branches. So now here, if I go to the multi-branch test, something happened. Let me see what the Jenkins is able to connect or not. Okay, only. So let me restart it. Something happened. So here you can see exited. Now it is running. So here, let me go to the multi-branch test. Select it. This is the job I have created right now. So here, jobs are created automatically. Right. So whatever the branches are having develop branch. Right. So if I go to the develop branch for the hello world servlet, Jenkins file is present. So now here, what are the steps are there? The steps are going to execute. Right. So here, what are the steps are here? These steps are going to execute. Right. So now don't bother about the steps of success or failure. Here, the concept here is right. You are not going to create a separate job for the branch. Automatically, your Jenkins is going to create the job. How? With the help of multi-branch pipeline. Why the job is not success means what are the steps are there, based on that is going to execute. So if the proper steps are not defined, obviously it's going to fail. Right. So that is the thing. We need to fix it out. So now here, whatever the branches are having the pipeline file, the Jenkins file, for those branches, those many jobs are going to create. Right. So this is one of the things which you are going to use in a real time. Then here the concept again here is, if you guys observe here, I can see develop branch, F1, master backup, multi branch. visual path like that. Right. So here the scenario. So this is got successful execute means this is having it is having the proper steps, not the others. So now here the scenario here is if I go to my branching strategy, right? If I go to the branching strategy, there I can see I required a job for the develop branch, I required a job for the release branch, I required a job for the master branch. But here I can see a job for the F1, I can see a job for the master backup, I can see a multi-branch visual path. Right? It is not required. Right? So then because if I have my job something like that, then I am going to confuse what is this job for. Right? So now when you are going to maintain the jobs means you have to maintain the jobs for the environments. For the environments. You need to create a jobs for the environments like development job, dev job, QA job, production job, not like the other jobs. If it is required, then you are going to create the other job, not like the repository. What are the repository having the branches for each branch? Don't create a job. Why? Let's suppose, right. Let me clarify that one also. So right. So now when we are going to work with the agile process, correct? Agile process is nothing but iteration model. Right, the iteration we are going to call it sprints. So now the sprint time frame will be the 15 days. So every 15 days we are going to take some load, some work. Then the people are trying to complete the work in the sprint. Then they are going to give a demo to the POs, product owners. If they're satisfied, then in the next sprint we are going to take the next activities, or we'll take the like if any comments are received along with the work, we are going to start the new sprint by taking the new activities. That's it. Right. So now here when the sprint is going to start, developers are going to start working for their tasks, whatever the requirement they are having. So now what they will do, simply they are going to create a new branch from the latest. Right, so the master will be having the latest, then they are going to take the code from the latest master branch. If the development branch is having the latest code from the development. So what suppose take it to the example of my latest code will be on the development branch. Every sprint of the end, we are going to update the develop branch to have the latest code. So now here what they will do, from the developer branch, they are going to create a new branch based on the sprint. Suppose this is sprint 2. We are the second right 15th up. We are in the 18 means sprint 2. Sprint is 15 days. Every month you will be having 2 sprints. So now I am on the sprint 2. So this is the sprint 2 branch. I have sprint 2 for my login. Suppose like that. So now here the developer what they did is they have taken the latest code from the developer branch. So then they have created a new branch called sprint 2 login. They will start working on this code, working on the requirement, and they will update the code in the this particular branch. Finally what they will do, once the coding is completed, they will push this branch to the develop again, correct? So that it will be deployed in the development again. So once this branch is merged to the develop branch, right? So how they are going to merge? With the help of PRs, pull request. We know the process very well, right? So now the one PR is going to create, the PR is nothing but the sprint 2 login is going to merge the development branch. So now the PR is going to assign to the reviewer. The reviewer will be reviewed the code. Once they are satisfied with the code, then what they will do, they are going to merge this branch to the develop. So then what will happen here? In our GitHub, we are going to see our branch called development branch, then the future one branch. Whatever the branch they have pushed it, correct? That's what here. So now this is the branch they have pushed it. So now this branch will merge to the development branch. So means on the GitHub we can see our development branch as well as the developer branch also. That's where it is going to give an option. Once the PR is merged, delete the branch. Don't keep it. Otherwise, what will happen? That branch also will be exist in the repository like this. Okay, that is fine. Even though the branches exist or not, I don't bother about it because I don't bother about these branches. Simply, I'm going to worry about my environment branches. But later on, after some point of time, I'm going to clean up all the unused branches or all the merged branches. Right? I don't have an issue by maintaining the branches here. But yes, for your CI/CD process, it is an issue. For our CI/CD branches maintaining is not an issue here, but the thing is, for our CI/CD process, it is an issue for us because what the developers are going to do when the sprint is going to start, what the developers are going to do, they are going to take the latest code from the development branch into their local by creating a new branch. So now here, what the sprint to here, the sprint to is a replica of development branch, right? This is a replica means both will be the same page when when the branch is created. So when I say replica means whatever the development branch is having the code, all the code will be copied into the new branch, right? So here, if I go to the development branch, along with the development code, you are going to have a Jenkins file also, because we require a Jenkins file for the development branch so that I can deploy the development code into the development. So when the moment they have created a replica, a new branch on the development branch or the master branch, so whatever the code is there on the development, they are going to get into the new branch. So along with the code, they are going to get the Jenkins file. When they got the Jenkins file, so when the moment the code is completed, they will push back to the development. Means they are going to merge the code. Once the merging is done, so the development branch will be having the latest code of the Sprint 2, and our Sprint 2 will be there also there in our repository also like that, until unless it is deleted. If the branch still exists in the repository, if the development branch means the Sprint 2 branch, if the branches still exist in the repository, then what will happen? Your multi-branch pipeline will try to scan all the branches of the repository. So when the scanning is going to happen, it will go to each and every branch, try to search for the Jenkins file. So obviously, future one is a replica of development branch means the Jenkins file will be there in the future one. So when the Jenkins file is found, it is going to create a separate job for the particular branch, which is not required for us. Correct? The future one is from the developer side. So we don't require to create a separate job for the future one because the future one is already merged to the development branch. We require a job for the developer, not for the future one branches. Right. So for that, what we need to do here is for that to handle the situation, the scenario, we need to delete the branches. Once the merging is done, delete the branches. Otherwise, your multi-branch pipeline will create a job for the each branch wherever the Jenkins file is found. This is one area. So now we cannot give a guarantee that the reviewer is going to delete the branch, right? Because we are humans, there is a chance of we are going to forget. So simply what they will do, they are going to review the code, merge the branch to the destination branch, and they will leave it. They are not going to delete the branch. So if they are not delete the branch, your multi-branch is going to create a job, right? So now here we need to go for the alternative, because every time we cannot say the people like go, hey guys, please delete the branches once the merging is happened, right? So now the alternate way is you can handle this from the configurations, job configurations. Right. So now for that, we are going to use the options in the configuration. We are going to use the options that don't create a job for the other branches apart from my development branch, release branch, and master branch, which are required, and don't create the jobs for other branches. That option we are going to use. So for that, here in the resources, branch sources, we are going to see the properties. Add, here we are going to see filter by name, filter by name with the regular expressions, filter by name with the wildcards. So now if I enter here, include and exclude. So here I want to include development branch, release branch, master. So only this branch one I want to include or exclude. Right? If you want to exclude anything, you need to mention here. Right? So here if I go here, they are going to give an example also. Master, release, or something like that. Right. So like that, so that what will happen here is going to scan only the respective branches, then it is going to create the jobs for the only these branches, not for the other jobs. So like that, see here, the other jobs are gone. Right. This is what we are going to do. Right. So now here, this is what we are going to maintain. So we are going to create the multi-branch pipeline. Then in the multi-branch pipeline, we are going to scan. We are going to tell the system to scan only my environment branches, these branches, not by other branches. Right. So even though the guy is not going to delete the future branches after merging, right? our multi-branch is not going to create the separate jobs. Right? So this is what the multi-branch case. So multi-branch pipeline is the one which you are going to use for the real time. So to deploy the code into the environments, so that you don't require to create a separate job. Automatically, your Jenkins is going to create a separate job based on the Jenkins file on the branches side. Like, right, guys. So I'm going to stop for today. So tomorrow we'll see the other options. Right. So any questions? Able to understand or not? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Yeah. So only the thing is, yeah. Only the thing is, na, just to try to practice the two repositories whatever I have provided to deploy the code from the scratch, from the pipeline, like set up the pipeline from the taking the code to deployment. So if you deploy the code with the pipeline code with the help of the snipper generator, whatever the options you are going to use, if you understand the request step, then that is enough for us. So for your real-time setup. So later on, the scripting blocks, the other things you are going to see based on the requirements. Otherwise, as I said, is not mandatory. Okay. Yeah.
Shankar, I have a question.
Yes. Yes. Ram.
How the Jenkins file will identify the properties file? There is a properties file, is there, right?
That is on our properties, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, the Jenkins is not going to identify the properties file. Your Sonar scan is going to identify the properties file. So here, whatever the scanner I am going to provide, that is the reason I asked you to place the properties file wherever the Jenkins file is located. Because in the Jenkins file, I am going to tell run the scanner. Run the scanner.
Okay.
So what the scan is going to do, wherever the scanner is going to execute, right? So where the scanner is going to execute by default, actually, once you got the code into your local, right? So here, local means into the Jenkins server here. Local here means. So now here, once the code is cloned, cd var lib Jenkins. Now workspace, right? Workspace is the location where the code is going to clone in the first area, right? So now here, what the proper was, suppose if I go to our pipeline test, very good. And from here, the Jenkins file is going to run. So when the Jenkins file is going to run, in the Jenkins file, one of the step is scanner. So what the scanner is going to do, in the same location, it is going to search for the properties file, the scanner. So that's why the properties file is has to be placed wherever the Jenkins file is located, like that. Not
Okay,
the
we can
Jenkins
see
file,
that.
scanner is going to search for the properties file. This way.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So guys, then that's all for today. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Shankar.
Thank you, Shankar.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.